The Packers, who had a scare against the Atlanta Falcons at home before surviving, and Mike Sherman's team trying to go 2-0 without Gilbert Brown today. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints, who got their second win and survived in overtime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Aaron Brooks, you know his story, the former Green Bay Packer draft pick who was traded to the Saints and had a big game right after signing a contract extension. Second cousin to Michael Vick, and a lot of people are comparing the two of them, but that may be a stretch, Moose.
Yeah, they are a little bit different in their styles. I think both of them are kind of considered that new generation of quarterback that's mobile, but Aaron is much more of a pocket passer, so we'll see if he can challenge that defense like Michael Vick did last weekend.
All right, the Saints will get the ball when we kick it off.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, the NFL family lost one of the legends of the game. Please stand and join your New Orleans Saints and the Green Bay Packers in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Johnny Unitas, a quarterback for all time who brought glamour and popularity to pro football. Thank you.
When you talk about the old term ice water in your veins, no one fitted more than Johnny Unitas, Darryl.
One of the players who was so instrumental in bringing the attention to the National Football League, to have a player like that involved in your league at the time when it was really starting to gain its popularity on TV. Just a sad day for the Unitas family and football fans everywhere in this country.
Saints getting it first. Ryan Longwell will kick off, and Michael Lewis is back deep. Fred McAfee also in the neighborhood, and this game is underway, and Longwell's kick 3 yards in the end zone, bobbled momentarily by Lewis, and after a bit of a decoy, turns on the Jets and brings it out to the 32-yard line. So the New Orleans Saints, after the 34-yard kickoff return, and Jerry Fontenot is the only man in the same spot he was a year ago. Turley has moved, and the rest are new. McAllister, as Moose pointed out, is now the go-to guy at running back. And Jerome Pathon and David Sloan, the tight end, are also new faces in the backfield for the New Orleans Saints, who are led by Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks struggled at the end of last year, but impressive against the Tampa Bay Bucks on the road last week. And on the first play, gets pressure, and the pass is incomplete, bringing up second down.
One of the things that they did not do last week was pressure the quarterback. They started off on the first play with a blitz.
Best way to do it against Aaron Brooks, as you take a look at the Packers defensive line. Rod Walker starting in place of Gilbert Brown at defensive tackle. And, of course, Joe Johnson coming back, had starred with the Saints for many years. Wayne Nickerson and Niall Diggs, the linebackers. Tyrone Williams, Mike McKenzie, the corners. Antoine Edwards and Darren Sharper, the safety. Second down and 10 with 3 wide receivers for New Orleans. And this time the deep drop by Brooks, and his pass is caught short of midfield by Joe Horn, still on his feet, and a huge gainer. Antoine Edwards, who is taking the place of Leroy Butler at strong safety this year, couldn't catch up to Horn, who picks up 40.
And this is not a good start for the Green Bay Packer defense. The one thing you do not want to have happen is let Aaron Brooks get into a rhythm. And he does in this first big pass play. Right there, as you pointed out, Antoine Edwards has got to come up and make that hit. He was a little tentative as an approach. Joe Horn is a veteran player, just broke to the outside to get some additional yards.
And he led the team in receiving with 8 catches for over 100 yards last week. And the Saints threaten on the 28-yard line of the Packers. Dante Stallworth, the impressive rookie, is the 3rd wide receiver. Now you can see that Aaron Brooks is upset because an early timeout called by New Orleans. So just the start of things, less than a minute gone by, Saints having to call the timeout. Shrimp boats are a-coming here in the bayou as New Orleans hosting Green Bay in their home opener. Brett Favre and Frank Winters getting set to go to work. Meanwhile, following the Saints timeout, first down and 10. Go to a two-wide receiver look and play action on 2nd and 10. Here they come again, and this pass in and out of the hands of Joe Horn. Well, he was open there, and it was a fine pass by Brooks and was defended by several players in the secondary led by Mike McKenzie.
We saw in the first two plays the Green Bay Packers bring pressure. This time they bring in two tight ends, block everything up. It's a two-receiver route. Watch Dante Stallworth moving to the right of your screen. The Packers blow coverage again, which they did several times last week against the Atlanta Falcons. Aaron Brooks missed a wide-open receiver.
And Rod Walker, taking the place of Gilbert Brown, came up and put the pressure on Brooks. And the handoff to Deuce McAllister in his first carry of the game. And going over 100 last week, and that was a career high for McAllister, who gained 109 yards. And that will bring up third down. Nickerson and Vonnie Holiday in on the stop.
And last week, a lot of workmanlike yards in that 109 yards. Not a lot of big runs. You see there the average 3.5. That's a tough day between the tackles. That's where he gained the respect of his offensive linemen up front. They just thought he was a speed guy, but he showed him a little bit of power last week.
Third down and 10, just outside of the red zone. Jerome Pathon, the former Colt, in motion. And getting enough time and completing to Joe Horn. Horn fighting for those extra yards. Will get a first down as a result. And again, Antoine Edwards dueling with Horn and coming up second best once again. And a big first down for the Saints inside the Packer 20.
And what a great effort at the end of this run by Joe Horn. Antoine Edwards has him right there, short of the first down. A quick little stop and back inside. Watch the stiff arm here. Take a handful of this. And now right back inside. That's just a tremendous effort by Joe Horn because he was 2 yards short of the first down. I can't tell you how important it is to keep the chains moving, especially in the red zone. They got a whole new series of downs.
So the Saints getting the big play and then getting the first down with 3rd and 10 on the 18-yard line of the Packers. And here is Brooks going underneath and completing the pass inside the 15 to Deuce McAllister. And I'll tell you, the Saints look awfully sharp thus far in the first drive.
Well, we talked about what the Green Bay offensive line had to do. Right now, the New Orleans Saints offensive line is really, really controlling the line of scrimmage. The one thing they're doing very well is picking up the blitz. We've seen blitzes on almost every play that the Green Bay defense has run. They haven't phased them except that first play of the game.
Second down and 6. Nearly 3 minutes elapsed. Brooks' numbers of last week. And he threw 42 passes. The pitch to McAllister, and he stumbles for a couple of yards. And that will bring up third down for the Saints, who already are in solid field goal range for Jim Haslett, who saw his team embarrassed and stumble in the last 4 games of last season, but come out of the gate strong against a good Tampa Bay team on the road.
I just can't say enough of what this team did last week, and I don't think there's anybody around the NFL that really thought the Saints were going to be a competitive football team last year with everything that went on. And they grabbed everybody's attention in week 1. Credit to Jim Haslett and his organization.
Tavir Bajabiamila, the pass rusher, into the game. Out of the shotgun is Brooks. And the flags are tossed. Johnny Greer.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 65, offense. Third down.
And that's the rookie LaCharles Bentley, who has looked very good. He is a second-round pick from Ohio State, but this has got to really give Jim Haslett gray hairs when you get penalties this close.
Penalties in the red zone. When you look at a team that struggles in the red zone, it is a difficult area to get yards and to get touchdowns. And the one thing you just can't do is have a penalty. And right there, this is LaCharles Bentley, his home opener here for the Saints. So I'm sure he's got a few butterflies out there.
And I'm sure you've noticed the scores dropping down from the upper right-hand part of your picture to keep you abreast of what's happening around the league. Third down and 8. And here is Brooks under pressure, but he can run. And he's charging in, and he's got the first down. He does not get the score, but gets inside the 5-yard line. Half pocket passer and half scrambler, he calls himself, and he picks up 12 for the first down.
And to me, that is the strength of Aaron Brooks. He knows when to run. He never looks to run, but he knows when to run. And one of the areas that he will do is here in the red zone. You see right there, it splits open. They've got man coverage. Everybody's downfield. He knows he's got enough room to get the first down, and that's what the Packers are going to have to be wary of. He wants to stand in the pocket and throw the ball, but if you lose contain or your job, he will scramble.
First and goal at the 4. Crowd yelling boo for Boo Williams, the tight end, but they're going to cheer for Deuce McAllister eventually. And McAllister into the line. So the question, what about this Packer defense, which was heralded before the year, gave up a lot of yards and a lot of points against Atlanta, and now on their heels?
Well, the big thing that Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator, talked about during the week was we didn't put enough pressure on Michael Vick. We want to put pressure on Aaron Brooks today. We don't want to let him get into a rhythm. Well, right now, the New Orleans Saints are handling that pressure, and they're making plays in the passing game. This is a poor start for the Green Bay defense after a tough week last week.
10th play of the drive, second down and goal at the 4. 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends, and here is Brooks with a lot of time, and his pass thrown behind Jerome Payton, and that will bring up 3rd and goal.
That shows you the maturity of Aaron Brooks right there. He's not trying to force it. They're in an area where they're going to get some points, but don't make a mistake where you're trying to fit a ball and have an interception. And right there, nobody open. He just dumped the ball away in the direction of one of his receivers. He gets another chance here on 3rd down, but you see right there, last week in the red zone, 4 TDs out of the 5 possessions, and that's what you can't have. You got to force teams to kick field goals when they get in that red zone.
And they spread them out. Jake Reed comes in as the 4th wide receiver on 3rd and goal. Packers have to worry about Aaron Brooks as well on this play. They go up the middle and a handoff to McAllister. Touchdown Saints. Boy, was that a thing of beauty for New Orleans.
Well, you talked about all the wide receivers coming in, Dick, and they were all spread out. One of the things that they wanted to be able to do this afternoon is run Deuce McAllister out of the spread offense. Watch the blocking by the offensive lineman up front. LaCharles Bentley, a nice job on the trap block on Vonnie Holliday, and Deuce McAllister. There's that burst inside.
And there is John Carney with the extra point. Remember, the Saints have not had a winning year here since 1992, but they're off to a winning start. Very impressive first drive by the New Orleans Saints as they lead the Packers 7-0. They got 40 of those yards on the pass to Joe Horn. McAllister getting the touchdown, and maybe more important, the Saints were 3 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. Well, back deep, Javon Walker, the impressive rookie wide receiver, and Carney kicking off. And it's going to be Najee Davenport, another rookie for the Green Bay Packers on the return. And Davenport from Miami brings it out to the 26-yard line. A breather for the offensive line. Well deserved for New Orleans. And many of the fans are part of the throng from Kill, Mississippi. 8 buses transported over 400 people from Kill, 40 miles east of New Orleans, for this man, Brett Favre, who now faces a deficit as the Packers begin from the 26-yard line and their first possession of the game. And it's to the air. A flag is down. The pass caught by Donald Driver.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 88, offense. Still first down.
Bubba Franks, the tight end. And a false start. Let's take a look at the Green Bay Packers offensive line. Frank Winters continues to play at center for Mike Flanagan. Amon Green, as Ron Pitts mentioned, had the upset stomach. He has not 100%. Driver and Glenn will be joined by Javon Walker at wide receiver as Brett Favre starting his 159th consecutive game. First down and 15, and here is Amon Green, who goes into week 2 leading the NFL in rushing, and Green picks up about 6. Defensively for the New Orleans Saints, Grady Jackson and Norman Hand. All of the Packers talked about how big and huge they are right in the middle. They are keys for them. Charlie Clemens is their top pass rusher at middle linebacker, but he'll move around. And in the secondary, Ken Irvin. Irvin is starting for Fred Thomas at cornerback, who's out with a broken hand. And it'll bring up second down, and Ken Irvin has started many games for the Buffalo Bills in his career. so he is not a novice. And here is Favre completing to the tight end Franks, and Bubba is going to get the first down. Gain of 13 yards for the Packers with Michael Hawthorne defending.
One of the areas that Bubba Franks wanted to improve in was catching between the 20s. You can see right here the record of Brett Favre. Now, everybody knows about his struggles in Minnesota and Detroit during the regular season battles with the Lions and Vikings, but look at that record here in the Superdome, and that includes an undefeated stint as a quarterback at Southern Miss also to get him to 5-0.
And of course, the crowning moment, Super Bowl 31, early in '97, when Brett Favre led the Packers to the Super Bowl victory over the Patriots. Javon Walker in motion to the right on first down, and on the slant, pass caught by Donald Driver, and Driver picking up about 7 yards. Looked like he was the favorite receiver of Brett Favre in week number 1.
Well, I tell you, the group as a whole had an outstanding afternoon last week, and that is the one area that Mike Sherman wanted to upgrade, and they lost some key producers from that group last season, but overall, the speed that they added, I think, gives them a good chance to have a great season at that position. And what it also does, this group should be with Brett Favre for the remainder of his career.
Double tight end with Franks and David Martin, who should play considerable time, and the handoff to Ahman Green on second down and 3, and he gets a yard at the most. And a third down and short coming up just shy of midfield.
And this is going to be a much bigger challenge for this Green Bay offensive line than last week. This is a very, very good defensive front for the New Orleans Saints. You see right there, Grady Jackson and Norman Hand, two big guys that a lot of people think take plays off. Well, I watched them on film last week. Every time they're in there, they're getting upfield and getting penetration.
Third down and 2, and this time they line up Javon Walker, the number 1 pick from Florida State, wide to the left. Third down and 2, out of the shotgun is Favre. He's got time, and he completes the pass, and a flag is down. Terry Glenn on the reception. But we're going to have holding called against the Packers to nullify a first down. So the 12-yard pickup,
Holding,
wiped out.
68, offense, still third down.
There's the left guard, Mike Wall. So third down again for the Packers, back in their own territory.
Yeah, I tell you what, how just so difficult to overcome what's going on. Here he is right here, your left guard. We'll take a look at the hold, but you make the first down and it comes back. It's an easy call right there. A little bit of a takedown from some early wrestling days, but you have a positive play. You get the first down. Here comes the penalty. Now you're 3rd and 10 plus. Against this defense, you know something crazy is coming from Jim Haslett.
He guaranteed that. Ball on the 39-yard line, and here's the crazy stuff. And Favre trying to get it to Ahman Green, and he makes the catch. Green, as a receiver, tiptoeing down the sideline, makes the grab, and a first down, picking up 17.
Well, Darren Smith, the outside linebacker, thinks that Ahman Green is releasing. All of a sudden, he gets behind him. He had a little miscue right there. You see him trying to get back in the play. Great job of concentration by Ahman Green as that ball comes in, because Darren Smith's got his hands up in the air trying to block it out. Just a little mix-up right there. He had him in coverage.
And, you know, even Brett Favre can throw a wobbly pass and get something out of it. So the Packers are in Saints territory at the 44. Here is Green up the middle. And against those huge tackles, doesn't get much, a couple.
That's going to be very important this afternoon as this game wears on, is the Packers' success on first down, because New Orleans will blitz at certain times. Obviously, third down, you'll get some exotic things that they'll draw, but second and long is also another area that they will take some risks. And right now, if they don't have success on those first down plays, you're looking at a 2nd and 8 right here. Here's another area where Brett Favre has to be aware that New Orleans likes to blitz.
So Rick Venturi mixing it up, and 4 wide receivers, and Franks, the tight end, going in motion on second down and 8, drills it, and a good play, breaking it up, is Ken Irvin, starting for the injured Fred Thomas, as Favre looking for the tight end David Martin on the play.
And I think it was an interesting comment by Brett Favre when we talked to him, the fact that we asked, will you attack the areas in the secondary because Fred Thomas is not playing? He really feels that he doesn't want anybody to dictate how they play the football game. If those opportunities present themselves, great, but we're just going to come out and play our game. We're not going to let the Saints defense dictate where we should run or throw the ball.
Until he goes to Urban 4 more times.
Yeah, exactly.
3rd down and 8. And this time Favre drills it, and it's tipped, and it's intercepted. Darren Smith bringing it back on the deflection. You see more interceptions on tip balls than anything else in the NFL, and Darren Smith on the return, 17 yards, gives it back to the black and gold.
Javon Walker, who had a nice debut last week as a rookie. Keo Craver, that's the guy we're going to be keeping our eye on. Jim Haslett loves him. Well, one of the reasons that Jim Haslett likes Keo Craver so much is the instincts he has as a football player. You see him right there read Javon Walker's eyes. He doesn't even have to look back. He gets his arm in there to tip that ball away.
Here's Deuce McAllister on 1st down following Darren Smith's interception, and picks up 3 yards and edges his way into Packer territory. So Brett Favre throwing his first interception. He had come into the game with his career longest string of 153 passes without a pick, and this is the first time he's thrown one here in the Superdome. So his total went to 158 before the interception. 2nd down and 8 for the Saints. Play action for Brooks. He has time and overthrows his intended receiver, Jerome Payton.
Kyle Turley, you mentioned one of the guys that's made the big switch in the offensive line. He's moved to left tackle, and he doesn't think that this is going to be a big challenge, because over there he will face his former foe, Joe Johnson, a former Saint, and watch him move back outside. The rusher that he's going to face this season at left tackle will be the athletic speed guy, and he figures he matches up well. He doesn't like those power guys that he had on the right side playing tackle there last year.
Kabir Bajabiamila, pass rusher extraordinaire, has checked in for the Packers on 3rd down and 8 at midfield. And here comes the pressure and the pass, and diving to make the play and making it is Jerome Payton. So Payton making the catch close to the 1st down marker, and I think he's short by about a yard.
It's going to be a tough decision for Jim Haslett. He came up just a little bit short of that 1st down. He's got to go down to the turf to dig this ball out. Doesn't have an opportunity to catch it on the run and advance it for a 1st down. That's a great job by Jerome Payton getting that ball pulled in and keeping it off the turf. But still just not an opportunity to run. And here's that matchup you talked about, Dick. Kyle Turley versus Kabir Bajabiamila. And right there, I would like to see them move him to the right side. You know, Kyle is going to match you with speed and athleticism. Put him on the right side.
You're not going to get it off in time. And either the timeout was called or the penalty. I don't see the flag. So after letting the clock go down, they're going to take the 5 yards, although no flag was put down there. They are going to punt, obviously, at this point with Toby Goen.
Delayed offense. Still 4th down.
So they gave the impression they might go for it, but not a percentage move for Jim Haslett. So Toby Goen, who missed last week's game with a hip flexor, active this weekend, will be kicking. And Darian Gordon back deep, the former San Diego Charger, for the Green Bay Packers. And a good kick. Heading for the corner, bounces at the 5, and I think it's alive, and I think the Saints may have made a great play out of it. Let's see. The officials are conferring. If one of the feet were in the end zone or touching the line, it would be a touchback. And that is the ruling. So Fakir Brown, yeoman-like work to try to keep the ball in play.
Well, there's your special teams player of the week last week with his job on the punt. You see the foot right there. There it is. He's on the line.
So the Packers will take it out on the 20 when we return to the Superdome. Well, the Packer defense holds. The Saints fail to take advantage of the turnover. No turnovers coming in October. Filled with spellbound days and mystical nights. Sports' biggest month comes to Fox. Baseball's Division Series kicks off with up to 124 5 hours of October's magical matchups. Thrilling NFL showdowns, exciting baseball playoff action. No other network will broadcast more sports in a single month this year. Coming up, the magical matchups begin October 1st, only on Fox. Brett Favre, after throwing the pick and the Packers escaping, beginning from the 20-yard line with under 3 minutes to go in the first. Saints lead 7-0. Amon Green for a couple of yards, and right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles. JB.
Dick and Darrell, the Bucs, as you well know, scored only 3 points in the first half in last week's loss to New Orleans. But take a look at Carl Williams on this punt return. Sizing matters up, heads upfield, 56 yards to pay dirt. The Bucs on top of Baltimore, 10-0 back in the first. Back to Dick Stockton and Darrell Johnston.
Well, they might need some help from their special teams. First year in John Gruden's offense, they're going to struggle a little bit at the beginning of the season. So good job, the special teams contributing right there.
Second down and 8 for the Packers, who trail 7-0. Play action and big rush put on Brett Favre. Favre on the run, and he completes to Robert Ferguson. And Ferguson will pick up the first down. So this could be a crazy quilt kind of game, although a flag has been thrown. It would be an 11-yard pickup, and the penalty be tossed against the Saints.
Personal foul, number 68, offense. After the play, the first down was gained. We'll penalize 15 yards, and it's first down.
So if they get the first down, but Mike Wall guilty of his second penalty today, Moose.
And this is a point of emphasis this year. They do not want the offensive linemen coming downfield and blowing guys up standing around the pile. And that's what Mike Wall did. But I like the way they enforced the penalty. It's after the play. They made the first down. It's not going to be 1st and 25. It's going to be 1st and 10 as the play is marked off. And he's coming in from your top left corner. There's number 68. The officials are going to be watching that all season long, and these guys have got to realize it. They were told about it in training camp. They got to be smart when they're on the field.
First down, but back on the 19-yard line for the Packers, and here is a fake in the round. The give is to Amon Green, and Green, with his best run of the game thus far, brings it out a couple of yards shy of the first down to the 28-yard line. So 8 yards for Green, with Keo Kramer making the tackle.
And that's the #1 concern for this New Orleans Saints defense, is stopping Amon Green. They'll take their chances with Brett Favre at quarterback. They know he's going to do some things during the course of the game, but they felt coming in they had to slow down Amon Green.
And he has to hold on to the ball because fumbling has been the problem for Green in preseason and early in the season in his history, and was again last week against Atlanta. Second down and 2, and the handoff to Green, and Green very close to the first down. Cedric Hodge, the linebacker for the Saints, coming up to make the stop. And we're going to have a measurement to see whether the Packers have a first down. No, they've canceled that, and they've given Green Bay a first down with 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Green taking a rest, and Rondell Neely, who came in a goal line situation and scored one of the Packer touchdowns at Lambeau last week, has checked in. First down for the Packers on the 29-yard line. And a timeout called by Brett Favre. So each team using a timeout. And while we have a moment, we would like to tell you that America has spoken. And now you get what you asked for. That's right. Jimmy Johnson joins the Fox NFL Sunday crew for the rest of the season, making America's #1 pregame show even better. And next week, the boys take their show on the road to open up Detroit's brand new Ford Field and break down the much anticipated revenge matchup between Spurrier's Redskins and Mariucci's 49ers. Fox NFL Sunday begins next week at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, followed by the Saints battle with the Bears, and then the Redskins 49ers matchup. And Moose, I know we're anxious to hear what Steve Spurrier has to say in that rematch.
Absolutely. You know, they're trying to downplay what happened over in Osaka, Japan earlier in the summer, but there were some words spoken between Steve Mariucci and Steve Spurrier, so kind of fun to have a game early on with maybe a little bit of bad blood even carrying over from the preseason.
Bad blood in week 3, imagine. First down on the 29-yard line for the Packers with 19 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And a play fake. Favre has time, and it's batted away. and they rule it an incompleted pass. And coming on was Norman Hand. He got that big hand in the way, so it was an incompleted pass.
What bonus that is to have your guy who you have as a run stopper also able to get pressure on your quarterback. Now, Norman Hand and Grady Jackson both have been working with a nutritionist and a trainer here in New Orleans. They've lost about 15 or 20 pounds each. They want to continue to lose more, and this is what you could see more of during the season. They don't want to be just run stoppers. They want to be able to get some pressure on the quarterback.
15 or 20 pounds, that's a drop in the bucket for these guys.
It's a small start, but it's a good start. I think that 310 there is a little bit underestimating.
Ahman Green back in the game and getting the handoff on the shotgun, and that will run out the clock. And Green coming very close to first down yardage is just shy by a bit as time runs out as the Saints with the opening drive making it work. That's the end of the first quarter. Saints 7, Packers nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages. Cheesehead with a little jambalaya thrown in here in the Cajun country as we start the second quarter. 3rd down and 1 for the Packers. Dick Stockton, Darrell Johnston, Ron Pitts with you here at the Superdome. 3rd down and 1, and here is Ahman Green still going into Saint territory and a first down plus. Michael Hawthorne eventually on the tackle as Green picks up 13.
Wow, and everybody talks about Ahman Green being a downhill runner. Watch this. He gets his shoulder square and just goes. Nice lead block by William Henderson. A nice subtle cutback to the open lane, and he is downhill and running. You see the eyes and the vision right there. Look at how low his shoulders are. It's no wonder that he is so good in yards after contact.
Already 61 total yards for Green. 44 on the ground. Again, Favre in the shotgun, and again the inside handoff, nothing doing. Green is stuffed for no gain on the play. And Brett Favre, with so much respect for those 2 tackles, said that he thought Jackson and Hand were even better than the behemoths in Chicago, Ted Washington and Mr. Traylor.
That is a big statement for a team that plays against those guys twice a year. And I think what you'll see as the game wears on is the quickness of Norman Hand and Grady Jackson the entire football game. They are not taking plays off, which is what Grady Jackson was accused of earlier in his career.
2nd and 10. And this time the Saints eager to get to Mr. Favre. Let's see if New Orleans drawn off. Johnny Greer, the referee.
Encroachment, 93, defense, 3rd down.
Eager was Darren Howard.
Still 2nd down.
So it is still a 2nd down, but 2nd and 5 now for the Packers. The Saints leading 7-0, scoring on their opening drive. Deuce McAllister went over from 4 yards out. And the pass is caught by Terry Glenn, the former Patriot, and a first down inside the 30-yard line. And talk about quick releases.
It's just amazing what Brett Favre is able to do with the football. And here's another feel-good story for the year. Terry Glenn, and he's really starting to find his place with this football team. You could see even a little bit of feel there develop between Terry Glenn and Brett Favre. Knowing when he's going to stop the route, Terry Glenn, look at him work back to the ball. It's just some subtle things that coaches have stressed to guys to make the passing game a little bit easier.
14-yard pickup. They go to the ground again, and here is Green with a good gain on first down. I have to tell you, Mike Sherman said, you know, every coach says we've got to stick to the running game, and he has not abandoned it so far, even though he trailed early in the second.
And he said one of the reasons why it's easy to abandon the running game is because you have a guy like Brett Favre that can take a game over, and he knows how important it is going to be to run the ball successfully this afternoon on the road in a dome. Right now, the offensive line has responded to the challenge. They're doing a very good job up front. From
the 23-yard line, 2nd down and 4 for the Packers, and this time it is the handoff to Green. And Green getting the first down. And I have to tell you, the Saints are winning, and yet the crowd is out of the game right now.
Well, what Green Bay is doing is what I didn't think they were going to be able to do, and that's run the ball effectively right at this New Orleans front 7. And they're doing it on the perimeter, off tackle, some traps, a lot of different looks in the running game. The defense for the Saints is not able to focus in on one style of run.
11 carries, 56 yards already for Green, who picked up 155 in week 1. Rondell Neely spells him now at running back. 1st and 10 at the Saints 17. And now they go empty backfield. They'll get rid of it in a hurry and complete it to David Martin, who skies to make the catch. They'll end up losing yardage on the play. And Martin tackled by Darren Smith. But this has been a long drive for the Packers because the 15th play is coming up, and coming off the field a bit shaken up is Darren Howard. Charles Grant, Saints #1 pick from Georgia, number 94, replaces it. This is what the Packers accomplished in the red zone last week. There's Grant. 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1. And Favre with a looping completion to Rondell Neely, and Neely stayed on his feet before going out of bounds at about the 10-yard line, forced out by Cedric Hahn.
Good job of maintaining his balance and being able to get up near those first down markers. It looked like Cedric Hodge was going to be able to trip him up, but Rondell Neely does a good job of maintaining his balance. He was a little late getting out to the flat with him. It looked like he was waiting for him to break back inside. You see right there some nice strength as he runs through the tackle.
And the Packers have also activated, as you see the play again, Tony Fisher, the rookie running back from Notre Dame. Because so they have Neely and Fisher behind him, and even Najee Davenport. So they're loaded at running back today. 3rd down and 2, and here is Favre on the slant, incomplete. Javon Walker, the intended receiver, and the hit provided there by, see if it was Hawthorne who got over there, and it was not. It was Sammy Knight.
Welcome to the NFL, Javon Walker. A great job of concentration, but when you're coming across the middle, Brett Favre will fit balls into areas where his receivers do take big hits.
So Ryan Longwell, who won the game with a field goal in overtime last week, will attempt a 27-yarder. Holding is Doug Peterson, and the kick is good. So the Packers finally score, and it is 7-3. Wow. That was normal speed, folks. We didn't speed it up. 7-3 Saints. We'll be right back. Well, we know there's a lot of teeth in the Packer offense when Brett Favre is on, and Green Bay getting a field goal out of it. And, you know, that alligator is like many of the fans who have been sitting on their hands thus far in a 7-3 game.
Even the alligators live up to the city's reputation as the Big Easy down here.
There's the scoring drive. By the way, Green with 47 yards rushing. The key operative in that drive. The kickoff, and Michael Lewis returning for the Saints from the 5-yard line. Lewis bringing it out, and he is tackled at the 34-yard line by Matt Bowen. So it's a 7-3 Saint lead, still early in the second quarter. Could this man be a successor to Leroy Neiman, the great sports artist, doing a pretty good job on the field? And right now the Saints leading 7-3. They're on the 34-yard line, their own 34. Aaron Brooks giving it to Deuce McAllister. McAllister with good space up the middle, and he's got the first down. And right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, Atlanta capitalized on a Fred Weary pick. Nice poise being shown by Vic, waiting for the defender to clear, whipping a soft pass to Warren Dunn. Dunn's 3rd touchdown of the season. Atlanta trying to bounce back from the loss to Green Bay, up by 7. Dick and Darryl.
Hey, that Atlanta team could be pretty exciting, JB. And the Saints trying to be in the same boat. 1st and 10, and McAllister is going to be knocked back for a loss. And leading the way was Cledius Hunt.
That play just kind of looked sloppy from the very beginning. Slow developing play. Cledius Hunt getting some penetration. Hardy Nickerson coming in.
Nickerson's 37 years old and manning the middle linebacker spot for this club now.
What a great career he's had. And talking to defensive coordinator Ed Donatel, just very happy to have been able to coach him and spend some time with him.
In the twilight of his career, though, second down and 11, and here's McAllister, and a little stop and start for Deuce. He'll find his way just into Packer territory, and there's Hardy Nickerson doing what he does best, snuffing out that run.
And that's the thing I think that not a lot of people thought Deuce McAllister was going to be able to bring to the table. Replacing Ricky Williams was the power that Ricky had. And Ricky would wear the defense out by the end of the game. And they saw that last week with Deuce McAllister. So I think that he really is the complete back that Jim Haslett always thought he was and was able to make that decision with Ricky Williams.
Third down and 4 on the Green Bay 49. And out of the shotgun, they pick up the blitz, but not forever. And Aaron Brooks fires it away, incomplete. And bringing up fourth down. And again, there's a spot where in the past Aaron Brooks might have forced it somewhere in the middle of coverage.
And he will continue to develop as a quarterback in his decision making, not forcing the ball, not trying to create something when it's not there. And you're correct, Dick, right there. Especially with the new rule this year, the intentional grounding, it's a much cleaner rule. Just throw it in the vicinity of one of your guys. Take your medicine, punt the ball away. Just don't have the big turnover at midfield.
Toby going with fourth down kicking, and Darian Gordon. He had a lot of options there, including the fair catch option. He eschewed that, and the Packers will find themselves on the 16 when we come back. Saints over the Packers 7-3. This week on the Fox News channel, the O'Reilly Factor looks at America on high alert with a possible terror attack in Florida and a rogue plane being forced down in Maine. How safe are we? Answers on the O'Reilly Factor this week on the Fox News channel. Check your local listing. Packers from the 16-yard line, trailing 7-3. 8:12 to go in the second quarter. Amon Green with a burst and fumbles, and the Saints recover. Cedric Hodge, the linebacker, picking up the loose ball, and there are those questions again. Will arise, Moose, on Amon Green, unable to hold on to the ball.
Well, what Amon Green does is when he finishes the run, he's always looking for extra yardage. And watch as the ball comes away. That's not even what he normally does. That's just a nice hit on the line for the linebacker. So the questions will continue to rise. But you take a look last week, watch him stretch out at the end of runs. You see the balls coming loose right there. It's something that's followed him. Mike Sherman knows it's a concern, but he says it happens in the preseason and the first few weeks of the regular season, and then Amon does a much better job. But this could be costly for the Packers.
Golden chance for the Saints on the 21-yard line of Green Bay, and here's Deuce McAllister, and he's got some power, doesn't he, as he picks up about 4 yards on first down. So the Saints trying to take advantage of the second turnover by the Packers. They didn't on the first occasion as Green ponders his situation.
Yeah, and you can't ask a guy to change his running style. What makes Amon Green a great running back is how physical he is and how he finishes runs. And it's just a situation, and that's not even what happened on that play. That was just a good hit on the ball, and the ball came loose. Now it's up to the defense to stop the Saints and force them to kick a field goal.
I know you're watching those scores coming up on the upper right-hand part of your screen right there. Miami leading Indy. And here is Brooks on second down, and he passes on the crossing pattern to Joe Horn. And Horn is out of bounds. It'll be first and goal for the New Orleans Saints. It was Joe Horn who caught a 40-yard pass on the first possession that really got the Saints running today. And that play good for 14.
And offensive coordinator Mike McCarthy, this is an area where he wants to see Aaron Brooks elevate his game this year. Finding the open receiver underneath, checking the ball down to a back, hitting your man on a crossing route, on the move, and allowing him to make a play. A nice job with the completion there to Joe Horn.
First and goal at the 4-yard line. Multiple tight ends. And here is McAllister diving to about the 3-yard line. Billy Lyon in on the stop. It'll be second down and goal. Jim Haslett, talk about the Packers with a new set of receivers. So does Jim Haslett, but Horn is a holdover. And so far today, 3 catches for 64 yards.
So Like Aaron Brooks is having some trouble right there with getting the play in time, or maybe having some trouble with the headset inside his helmet.
Well, it's not crowd noise because the crowd is not a factor so far today. Now, the Packers.
Timeout, New Orleans. Number 2.
Mike McKenzie doing his work. And the timeout called by the Saints. It is their second timeout. You know, there are a lot of Packer fans
This is
here.
a 30-second timeout.
And so they're going to be in full throat as well. Next week, it's a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning with America's #1 pregame show. JV, Terry, Howie, Jimmy gets you ready for kickoff. Then these Saints trying to get past the hard-hitting Bears defense and the Redskins and the 49ers, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on Fox. 49ers winning their opening game against the Giants playing Denver today. And the Redskins have the Eagles tomorrow night. So it'll be 2nd and goal at the 4. Boo Williams, number 82, who was a target for Aaron Brooks last week against Tampa Bay. Calling the audible and the play clock down to 4. Handoff to Terrell Smith, the fullback. Did not fool the Packers one bit. And it'll be Monty Holiday, 3rd and goal now.
I love that call, Dick. Open up the whole formation, spread everybody out, leave your fullback in there. It just didn't give him a running lane.
You know, I really feel for you because every time we talk to a team, especially the Saints, they say our best formation, you know, 3 wide receivers, a back, and a tight end. What about the fullback?
Oh, boy, I'm glad I'm retired because I don't think I have a place in the NFL anymore. Nobody uses the fullback.
We got a place for you up here. And it's 3rd and goal at the 4-yard line. We'll never eliminate the fullback up here. And here is a fake to McAllister. Here's Brooks. And he fires, and touchdown, Jerome Paython. Well, that was a heady play by the quarterback, Aaron Brooks, on 3rd and goal. And a 5-yard pass to the former Colt, Jerome Paython, for the 2nd touchdown for the Saints.
Well, I think there's a misconception around the NFL that Aaron Brooks is a running quarterback. He wants to be considered a very good passing quarterback. That is so difficult on the move to have the accuracy that he did right there. He is getting better and better each year, and he's really progressed just from last week to this week.
Don Carney adding the extra point. So the Saints taking advantage of the Ahman Green fumble, scoring their 2nd touchdown, and taking a 14-3 lead. Kyle and Joe, that's Kyle Turley and Joe Johnson, the former Saint, now playing for Green Bay, but it's the Saints taking it to the Packers, who have turned it over twice thus far, to the tune of 14-3. And Jerome Paython, his first touchdown as a member of the Saints after Green's fumble. So right now, the Packers are in disorder as the kickoff by Carney, and it's heading for Najee Davenport. And he is brought down right at the 20.
Go back and look at the touchdown. Jerome Paython right here is going to move across the formation. He's going to be in coverage. Watch the defender just stumble a little bit at about the goal line that gives him the ability to separate and make the catch. Darren Sharper stumbles a little bit right there as he was coming across. And that's a nice little mismatch right there. Jerome Paython versus Darren Sharper down inside the red zone.
And Aaron Brooks talking with Mike McCarthy, the offensive coordinator. Brooks signing a lucrative long-term deal right before last week's opener. And you don't have to worry about him spending the money unnecessarily as far as the car is concerned. He says, I am a used car guy. Bought a 1992 car. I'm not going to tell you the model, but it's not shabby. First down on the 20-yard line. Make it the 19 for Brett Favre. Going to the air, getting chased and hit, and getting away with it. And a flag is down, and let's see if Charlie Clemens, and they're going to call intentional grounding against the Green Bay Packers.
Intentional grounding. Number 4, offense. Also a loss of down. Second down.
Tell you, the Saints are getting in on him, Moose.
They really are. And Charlie Clemens, he plays middle linebacker, but he had 13.5 sacks last year. And right there is a scheme drawn up where he comes clean, but he'll line up at an end position in certain defensive formations, and he can still get pressure rushing against an offensive tackle. He's got great instincts as a pass rusher.
And momentarily grasping onto his left leg, so the 13-yard penalty sets the Packers back to their own 6-yard line. Second down and 23 from his own end zone. The pass is thrown out of bounds. Terry Glenn was the man he wanted to get to, but right now the Saints are controlling the line of scrimmage, and Green Bay nothing on their first possession.
Well, what they've done is they've allowed the crowd to get back in this football game with mistakes that they've made. The fumble and the touchdown, as you pointed out earlier, Dick, the crowd was not a factor. But right now, backed up close to the end zone, with the crowd getting into it, you can see their struggles right there. These are all Green Bay mistakes that have gotten this crowd back into the football game.
And the crowd unquestionably is back in. Third down and 23. And a running play to Ahman Green, and Green will bring it out to the 10 just to give Josh Bidwell some room back there to kick it away. That time Grady Jackson on the tackle.
Grady Jackson, number 91, clogging up the middle of the defensive front. You can see him working right there. You can't ask your defensive lineman to do more than that. He takes on 2 blockers, sheds them at the point of attack, and makes the tackle.
So the first punt of the game for the Packers. They had an interception, field goal, and a fumble, and now Josh Bidwell will kick it away. Michael Lewis looking to give the Saints good field position. A great kick by Bidwell, a boomer, inside the 35-yard line of New Orleans, and Lewis fumbles the ball. It's loose near midfield, and we'll wait for the official call. That was a 57-yard punt, and the Saints are going to get it back. And it was James Allen who recovered the loose ball. Allen, of course, the hero last week with his interception in the end zone for the game winner in overtime.
Great hustle by James Allen. This is a huge play. You won't see it in the stats after this football game, but they have just seized momentum of this football game, and they're about to let the Packers back into it. Good hustle, James Allen, to get back on this football.
And Allen,
well, he was the only Saint in the punt. 7 Green Bay Packers going after it with him.
He won the game last week, intercepting the Tom Tupa pass in overtime, and now the Saints on the Packer 49, leading 14-3. They've controlled this game from the start, and the pass, and let's see, it may be intercepted by Green Bay, and it is picked off by Mike McKenzie on the pass, a little short for Jerome Payton. And short enough for Ed Donatell's Pack to get it back.
65, offense is declined. First down.
And LaCharles Bentley holding. See it again.
Yeah, well, that's tight coverage right there. You want to give your receiver an opportunity to make a play on a ball, but, you know, last season we saw it before. Everybody wants to challenge Mike McKenzie on the outside, and he continually makes play. That's a tremendous play. He's watching Jerome's eyes. He turns back when Jerome looks back for the football. I don't know why everybody feels that Mike McKenzie is a weak link in the secondary. Every time they challenge him, he makes a play.
He did there, and the Packers getting life here, and there is Brett Favre, who has been under pressure. The hits and the hurries are very big. He gets some time here, but his low toss is incomplete, trying to get it out to his tight end, Bubba Franks. There are the scores on the right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll flash them to you all day long with happenings around the league. Second and 10, Brett Favre has not completed a pass in his last 4 attempts. Stepping up again with time, and he got hit on his arm. So another incompletion, this time Charles Grant, highly touted #1 pick, got to him.
He's down at the bottom of your screen. Charles Grant and Jim Haslett is very excited. Look at that first step off the ball. Boy, he's got Chad Clifton beat real good. That is a Chad Clifton stayed with him, got him pushed by the pile. Charles Grant, Jim Haslett feels, has the ability to become what Joe Johnson was for them last season. Looks like he got a hand on the ball as he went by.
I got to go back to what you said at the outset of protection being the key for Brett Favre. That hasn't happened for him.
Well, now they've got the crowd back in. These tackles, with all this crowd noise, it's going to be tough for them to get off on the snap.
Favre is sacked. They just got it off in time. And it was Norman Hand with help from defensive end Willie Whitehead and a loss of 8 yards.
It is such a disadvantage for the offensive tackles when the crowds get into the game. It's so hard for them to get their set. And it looks like Mark Tosher got rolled up on that play right there at the end. He's the player that's down on the field for the Green Bay Packers.
So Mark Tosher, the right tackle for the Packers, shaken up, and you can see the look on Brett Favre's face. Things just haven't gone well at all for the Pack thus far, all because of this.
Well, Brett Favre said, if we can protect, we'll win the football game. Early on, they were doing that. But they've let this crowd get back into the game, and since that point, he has been knocked around, hurried, hasn't been able to get into any type of a rhythm. And right now, the Green Bay Packers, with their starting right tackle, Mark Tosher, down, could be going into Earl Dotson to come in and take his spot.
So a dismal first half with 3:33 remaining for Mike Sherman. And story on Tosher is that after the 1998 collegiate season, decided to give up his dream of ever playing in the NFL. And while he was attending another sporting event, the Kentucky Derby, he happened to bump into Wisconsin head coach Barry Alvarez, who convinced Tosher he should return to Wisconsin, give football one more try, and the rest is history.
Well, he's walking off the field a little gingerly, but good to see him walking off. So hopefully that's nothing serious that will keep Mark Tosher out of the lineup.
Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry Howie, and our special guest John Elway will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up to the second stats. Interesting, Moose, how you talked about the crowd being out of the game even though the Saints were leading throughout. But it was the fumble by Green. From then on, the crowd has been vocal. Josh Bidwell punting from the 2-yard line. And Michael Lewis looking to return. Trying to turn the corner. And Lewis is finally down at the 47 of New Orleans by David Martin. So Tosher slowly walking off to the locker room.
That's the good news. You'll see is one of the Saints players comes over the top of the pile. Charlie Clemens right there. Watch as he rolls up into Mark Tosher's leg, and hopefully he was able to get that thing out of the turf. It didn't look like it was locked when it was down, but you can see it kind of bent awkwardly there at the end. But that's the best thing, is to see him walking into the locker room. So hopefully the Packers will get some good news regarding Mark Tosher.
So the offensive leaders so far, Brooks 6 of 12 with a touchdown. McAllister has gained 28. Joe Horn, the big threat, with 3 receptions. And Horn going in motion with 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And the quick out to Joe Horn. And Horn stepping out of bounds. Very close to first down yardage at the Packer 42. Saints have 1 timeout left. They're hoping to at least get in field goal range before intermission.
Quick little screen pass thrown out there, and when you've got your tight end Boo Williams flexed out there with you, nice to have a big body out in front to get some blocks downfield for you.
Second down and 1.
Kick it out, kick it out.
2 tight ends. And the pitch going to McAllister up the middle, first down. And Nate Wayne making the tackle. So Deuce, well, they can be yelling Deuce and they can be yelling Boo. In any event, the Saints pick up the first down as the clock runs, a gain of 9 for McAllister.
Offensive coordinator Mike McCarthy wanted to challenge the linebacker core. You see Nate Wayne right there. One of the things that he felt he could gain an advantage was getting them to move laterally. You see right there a designed toss that's designed to come back into the middle of the play to get those linebackers to over pursue. They've run it several times this game already and had good success.
First down for New Orleans. Aaron Brooks drills it. Deflected. And incomplete is the ruling as a host of white shirts going after the loose ball, including Darren Sharper and Antoine Edwards, stopping the clock with 2:13 remaining in the first half.
Aaron Brooks very fortunate right there that ball was not intercepted. You pointed out, Dick, when that ball gets tipped up in the air, more times than not, it is intercepted. And right now, what happened to the Saints last week, they had an opportunity to take control of the football game in the first half against the Bucs. They've got that same opportunity right now. They need to get points on this drive to get some separation.
And finally, the timeout called by the Packers. So it is Green Bay's second timeout of this first half. And, you know, not to be minimized for Jim Haslett's team or for Mike Sherman is the import here of not, for Green Bay, not allowing any more points, even a field goal if they can help it here.
Absolutely. I mean, you do not want to fall behind on the road at a stadium like this. And we will continue to talk about the crowd, but you have to get them out of the football game. And you get a big lead at halftime, and boy, they're going to be excited when that second half kicks off.
17-3 would be solid. Well, this October will be filled with spellbound days and mystical nights as sports' biggest month comes to Fox. Baseball Division Series kicks off with up to 125 hours of October's magical matchups with thrilling NFL showdowns and exciting baseball playoff action. No other network will broadcast more sports in a single month this year. The magical matchups begin October 1st, only on Fox. Second down, 10. This time, no shotgun for Brooks as he completes to Dante Stallworth. And here's the rookie going down the sideline, and Stallworth leaping in. Touchdown, Saints! Dante Stallworth, who's going to be around a long while, has impressed everyone. The first wide receiver drafted this year.
I want you to watch Jerry Fontenot, number 62. Watch this block right there on Antoine Edwards. That is great athleticism by a big man. It is so difficult. It's a mismatch when he's out in space versus a defensive back. He just freight trains Antoine Edwards. Look at that block. That is textbook. You could get that film and give it to your offensive lineman on how this play should be run. That is fantastic. Dante Stallworth will get the credit, but what a great block and great hustle by Jerry Fontenot.
A 34-yard touchdown pass and run, and the extra point by John Carney is good. So not only did the Packers unable to hold the Saints to 3, it was a touchdown, and Aaron Brooks with his second touchdown pass of the game, giving the Saints a very impressive 21-3 lead. And there is Jerry Fontenot, as we said, the only holdover in the same position on the offensive line this year.
And he makes all the calls. He gets everything done. It's irreplaceable to have a veteran guy. I can't tell you enough about what he did right there. It is so difficult for those linemen to get out in space against a smaller, more athletic football player. Antoine Edwards will learn to look back inside and get down. Boy, he almost took his helmet off with that hit. That is just picture perfect.
He turned Antoine Edwards into a bobblehead doll momentarily, and the Saints leading 21-3 for Stallworth. That is his second touchdown reception in as many weeks. So once again, and it's all about the pressure of the Saints. They've made it happen as Javon Walker and Najee Davenport. Davenport has been doing the bulk of the returns. And Carney will kick off for the Saints with 2:03 remaining in the first half. And this time it's Walker with the chance at the goal line. Tripped up. Javon Walker is tripped up as we get our 2-minute warning. Bakir Brown. Happy Saints in the stands and on the field.
Now let's watch Jerry Fontenot on the entire play. Here he is, your center right here. Watch him find his way through all the defensive linemen that are crossing his face, but watch at the point of attack. He never breaks stride. And I can't tell you how difficult that is for a big man out in space. A lot of times that guy just gives him a little bit of an ole and they go flying by and he's able to fall back into the play. Just a tremendous job by Jerry Fontenot.
Packers with 1:57 remaining in the first half, and Favre completing to Donald Driver, picking up about 8 yards. The Packers in their last 3 possessions, well, they fumbled on the first play, 3 and out twice, and a total of 12 yards. That's un-Brett Favre-like.
Very un-Brett Favre-like. And there has got to be some concern right now for the Packers. They have had everything happen that they were trying to prevent as this game started happen to them in the first half.
And all about protection. First off, as you had pointed out at the top. 2nd and 1. Green Bay still with 1 timeout left, and the pass out, and they're not going to get it here. Ahman Green piled up, and it was Michael Hawthorne. Remember, the Saints playing without Fred Thomas, starting cornerback, who was out with a fractured hand. For that matter, Dale Carter, who is serving a suspension by the league, also has been out. 3rd down and 1. And dropping the first down pass was Javon Walker. He was open.
He's open, and that's a rookie mistake right there by Javon Walker, trying to run before he puts the ball away on the catch. Could prove very costly right now. The Green Bay Packers are going to punt. There's a minute and 20 seconds left. Minute and 21 seconds left in this first half. The Saints have an opportunity to get more points if they can get the blimp off the field.
Yeah, that's the key now. I would throw a pass right at the blimp and probably get one of my receivers underneath it.
I thought in dome stadiums you really wouldn't have to worry about a blimp. But
I thought so too. And of course, when I say that was a first down pass, that would have been a first down had Walker had held on to that. So instead, Josh Bidwell will kick. He's been a busy man. 3rd Packer punt less than 3 minutes. Gets off another superb kick. Michael Lewis. And dragged down. A terrific defensive play, or I should say special teams play, by Karsten Bailey, preventing any kind of a run back and backing the Saints up to their own 18-yard line. So a 50-yard punt by Bidwell, and Lewis gets a yard. So let's see what Brooks has in a minute and 11.
It'll be interesting to see what Jim Haslett decides to do here. He's got a 21-3 lead. Is he content to go into the locker room with that lead, or will he try and get some more points right here, backed up inside his own 20?
Do the words don't get greedy come into play right about here?
Yeah, well, the last thing you want to do is have something bad happen to you. Everybody remembers Jack Swerk in the Super Bowl against the Redskins.
I know Joe Theismann does. 1st and 10 at the 18. Brooks, Joe Horn open on the slant. Get greedy. They get to Packer territory at the 48-yard line, although that was a good percentage play and a 34-yard pickup. And the Saints will use their last timeout.
They talked about missed coverages last weekend against the Falcons. I tell you, there's some times when the wide receivers for the New Orleans Saints are just running free in vacated areas. I don't know if it's missed coverages or not, but they have got to do something at halftime to slow Joe Horn down. He is just having a huge day, whether it's big long catches or crucial first down catches, getting them inside the red zone. He has been the guy. He has been the difference maker for the Saints this afternoon.
5 catches already for 107 yards, and yards after the catch. 85 for Joe Horn. Saints are out of timeouts. First down on the Packer 49. Leading 21-3. There'll be a lot of head scratching for the Packers during intermission, especially off of last week's performance defensively against the Falcons. Brooks out of the shotgun, gets the rush, and picked off by Darren Sharper. Brooks is the only man to get to him. And he does, and Sharper is dragged down at the 16-yard line. So a break for the Packers as the alert Darren Sharper returns the interception 41 yards.
Well, we talked earlier in this half about Aaron Brooks becoming a more mature quarterback. Back foot throw across the field in this situation. He wasn't even open anyways. Gosh. He's just, he's trying to force it to Joe Horn. We just talked about what Joe has done in the first half, but you gotta be smart. I mean, you had everything there for you. You're giving an opportunity for the Packers to go into halftime with a huge momentum swing.
Did I say don't get greedy?
I think you did.
1 timeout left for the Packers. 1st and 10 on the 14. Brett Favre firing to the corner of the end zone in double coverage, and it is caught by Terry Glenn for the touchdown. And Glenn is shaken up, but what a pass and catch with double coverage in the end zone. And Darren Sharper made it all happen, and the Packers do come back. And Brett Favre has tied Johnny Unitas for 5th on the NFL all-time list with his 290th touchdown toss.
Well, you said it correct, Dick. Double coverage. I thought Brett Favre was about to give this right back to the New Orleans Saints. Terry Glenn, I don't know how this ball is complete.
The extra point is good. I still don't know how it got caught.
Over the outstretched fingertips. You talk about football being a game of inches. Look at this. I mean, right over the fingertips of the two defenders. Sammy Knight just missing as he comes across. And Terry Glenn, what a great job of concentration. First, Michael Hawthorne just over his fingertips, then Sammy Knight. That's why they say football is a game of inches right there.
And you may say that's why Terry Glenn was an asset as a terrific receiver, and Brett Favre not much to jump around for early in this game. And Glenn catching the touchdown pass. So Glenn with his first touchdown reception in a Green Bay uniform, and it's 21-10. So you're right, Moose, a late and dramatic momentum shift and giving the Packers new life and giving Jim Haslett something to ponder.
Well, you know, you've got the ball out to midfield. You know, maybe the first play call, you want to take the conservative approach and not get greedy. But when you hit the big play and get out to midfield, yeah, okay, let's go. You know, we've got plenty of time to get in there, get a touchdown, and, you know, possibly a field goal. And then just a poor decision by Aaron Brooks.
Now, once they got into Packer territory, you figure that the Saints are going to play it cool, maybe get 3 out of it. But Darren Sharper had other ideas, and so now the Packers trailing by 11. Ryan Longwell kicking off, and Michael Lewis bobbling, and he kept his feet in bounds, and then he stumbles and he loses the ball. I don't think he's going to put on that play on his highlight reel.
No, this one is, I don't think this one's going to make it. This one might stay on the cutting room floor. A little bobble there to begin with, and then things just go to worse. And we watched him on Friday. He struggled a little bit catching the punts on Friday afternoon out of practice. So I think it's safe to say on this series that Jim Haslett will take a knee and get into the locker room.
Jim Haslett's Saints winning on the road against Tampa Bay. And as he pointed out, a different kind of team. You mentioned how the club has been rebuilt a lot. Don't forget that for Jim Haslett and the Saints, they're no longer playing in the NFC West, where you needed speed rushers. He's got a new division, the NFC South. He wanted to be bigger up front, and that's worked out for him. And that will be the last play of this first half.
What a huge transition right there at the end of the game for the Packers. They were down and out. This crowd was back into it. Boy, they were going to face an uphill challenge in the second half. Darren Sharper makes a huge play. Brett Favre finishes it. Terry Glenn, great catch. Aaron Brooks, you see him walking off right there. Look at the two different facial expressions right there from Aaron Brooks to Brett Favre. I should have had it, and all of a sudden, Brett Favre takes it from him.
That speaks volumes, Moose, as we send it down to Ron Pitts.
Jim, except for those last couple of plays, pretty good first half. You guys done a good job of getting after Brett Favre.
Yeah, we played pretty good defense. Got a couple turnovers, that helps. We just got to take care of the football on offense.
What are you guys going to do now coming back out in the second half? What do you expect from Green Bay, and particularly Brett Favre?
Well, you know, he's a guy that's always in the position to make plays like he did this last play, and we got to make him go the long field, make him go the distance, and hopefully get a turnover.
All right, Jim, good second half. All right, Dick Stockton, back up to you.
All right, Ron, a downer for Jim Haslett. That's the end of the first half with the score. The Saints 21, the Packers 10. And Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Visa halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
The Visa halftime report is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
And thank goodness indeed, TBS, we welcome you to the Visa halftime with the full house, at least for the 3 of us anyway. New Orleans on top of Green Bay by the score of 21-10. Favre has never lost in a Superdome, TV.
I'll tell you what, do I love this guy? You know I do. Kill Mississippi's favorite son. But it's Deuce McAllister, 4-yard touchdown on the opening drive. All right, Saints, Ricky Williams down in Miami. Brett Favre back to pass. Picked off by Darren Smith, ending his streak of 100 consecutive pass attempts without an interception. It's New Orleans 7-0 until Aaron Brooks play action rolls right. Jerome Pathon crossing route. Back of the end zone, 5-yard touchdown. And all right, it's 14-3. And then a quick screen out to the left to rookie Dante Stallworth. This play does not work. It's a corner, presses the wide receiver. Jerry Faunover, center out leading the block. Great score, 21-3. It is Saints until Favre rolling out of the pocket. Terry Glenn, his first touchdown reception in 2 years. This one covering 14 yards. And that's Brett Favre's 290th career touchdown pass, tying him with the great late Johnny Unitas. 21-10 Saints over Green Bay. Let's go down to Atlanta. Miller looking left, firing the ball, picked off by Fred Weary. 3 black jerseys over there tells me, as slow as I am, I don't want to throw in that area. But it's nothing to nothing, Howie. Michael Vick, watch this. Looks left, turns to throw it right. Ward's done, but the linebacker's there. Holds the ball, throws it late. Excellent decision-making by the young Mike Vick. 7-0 Atlanta. Anthony Thomas, 10, 3-yard touchdown up the middle. 10-7 Atlanta over the Bears. And what is a great football game. 10-7 Falcons over Bears at the half. Traveling down to Carolina. All-out blitz, man-to-man coverage on the outside. Fake the post, go to the corner. It's exactly what Muhsin Mohammed did. 22-yard touchdown reception. There you are, Rodney Peete. Nice job. Panthers 10-0, looking to go 2-0 on the season. 10-0 over the Lions. Johnny Unitas' shoes, his high tops. Everybody knows those shoes. Johnny Unitas, the great Johnny Unitas, passed away this week. Now, Baltimore Ravens hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and John Gruden. Carl Williams takes his punt on his own 44, picks up some blocks, goes to the outside to the right. 56 yards later, Tampa Bay off and running. John Gruden happy with what he's seeing. Buccaneers, tough game here. 15-0 over the Raisins.
All right,
Raisins? Did I say Raisins?
Yep, you said that. Don't worry, Howard's marked it down. Patriots on top, 10-0 over the Jets.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Pathon?
Peyton Manning has thrown 17 picks in 9 games against the Colts. Leading at 21-3 are the Dolphins. Cowboys and Titans nip and tuck, 10-7 lead by the Titans. Steve McNair, concussion in the first half. We'll keep you on top of that one. Kansas City looking to start the season 2-0 for the first time since 1995. And the Browns on top of the Bengals by the score of 17-0 in that one. Green Bay and New Orleans, Howie.
Well, Joe Horn, coming off that tell-all interview with our boy, is unstoppable in the first half with 5 catches for 105 yards. And you talk about Grady Jackson and Norman Hand, who's back healthy this year, making all the difference in a defense. That defense couldn't stop the run last year, and that was a hallmark of that defense. They flew around, and they're doing it now. And this Charles Grant, this young guy, and let me ask you a question, just from a geographical standpoint and a populous standpoint. How many favorite sons is it Kill, Mississippi, or Kill, Mississippi? Kill.
What did I say?
You said Brett Favre is Kill, Mississippi's favorite. Kill, Mississippi's favorite son. How many favorite sons could they possibly have?
Well, they got one.
Okay.
They got Brett Favre.
What's the population there?
It's 697.
Okay.
So what's wrong?
Now, I'm just curious.
Well, don't be curious. Just,
okay.
Don't be, and this is what they do to me when I screw up the highlights. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, understand one thing. The highlights, I take one deep breath of air and go 100 miles an hour to do 75
Kill,
highlights.
Mississippi is spelled K-I-L-N, but the N is silent. Visa halftime continues after this.
Shut up.
We are back in the Louisiana Superdome, getting ready for the third quarter with the Saints leading the Packers 21-10. Saints have the yardage lead, turnovers, points off, all even. No question that Brett Favre, he showed you a few moments ago, took the brunt of the hits. Now, but the late score means something here, and the Packers will get the ball first, Moose, in the third quarter.
Absolutely. I think emotion becomes the most important thing in the second half of the football game. The New Orleans Saints had the game in hand, the ball at midfield. With about 1 minute and 20 seconds to go, they have the crucial turnover. Green Bay goes down, converts it into a touchdown. They've got the ball to start the second half. Very important for the Saints defense to go out and force a 3-and-out, get the ball back, let Aaron Brooks get his confidence back. He is a streaky quarterback, and right now he's got some bad mojo.
Okay, so we'll see what transpires here as we get set for the second half kickoff. And John Carney with a short kick, and it's Javon Walker on the return. And Walker, with a flag down, gets up to the 25-yard line. And it's going to be not not against the returning team, but against the kickoff team. And a few moments before we started the third quarter, Ron Pitts caught up with Packers head coach Mike Sherman.
Coach, Grady Jackson, Norman Hand are wreaking a lot of havoc up front, getting some good hits on Brett. What do you got to do to stop that second half?
Well, we're going to stay out of second long, third long situations. We're allowing them to put their feet back and come after us, and we're not doing very well in that down and distance. So we got to get more short yardage of 3rd and 3 to 6 instead of 3rd and 7 to 10.
Anything special for Joe Horn? He's over 100 yards already received.
Well, he's a great receiver. We just got to do a better job of coverage, and we're trying to get after the quarterback. We had some single coverage on him. We've doubled. We're going to do a couple different things this half.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Dick Stockton, back up to you.
All right, Ron, and for Joe Horn, his 11th 100-yard receiving performance in 34 games with New Orleans, so he certainly has paid dividends. The offside penalty against the Saints, and they will kick off again, this time from the 25.
Advantage goes to the return team when these guys got to run down the field and cover on back-to-back plays.
So again, Carney, and moving up a bit, Walker and Davenport for the Packers. This is a better kick than the first one. And on the 10, Javon Walker. And he's stumbled forward to the 31. And right now, let's go back this time live, as well he should be, is Ron Pitts. Ron.
Well, we've heard from both coaches. I talked to Darren Sharper, the safety for the Packers. He said, we're going to continue to try to bait Aaron Brooks into some bad throws. We did it right before the half. We're going to try to do it again. And it's all about disguises. I'm going to show blitz, drop back, vice versa. We think he'll throw us one. As far as the injury update for the Green Bay Packers, Mark Tauscher, left knee, possible MCL. That's not good. He is out for the game. On the other side of the ball for the Saints, Darren Howard, left shoulder sprain. He's getting x-rays right now. We'll keep you updated on that. Dick?
All right, Ron, and Earl Dotson replacing Mark Tauscher at right tackle for the Packers. First down at the 30-yard line. On Green. And Green crossing to the 33-yard line. A short pickup. Green in the first half gained 66 yards rushing. That's 5.1 yards per carry. Pretty good performance. Sullied somewhat by the fumble, I would think.
Yeah, he had the critical turnover that gave New Orleans an opportunity to score, but over 5 yards a carry. I did not expect them to be able to run the ball as effectively as they did in the first half against this New Orleans Saints defensive front.
Second down and 7. Favre drills it, tipped away, incomplete. Javon Walker was the intended receiver and covered by Ken Irvin. Remember, Irvin starting in place of Fred Thomas, and Irvin has started in his career 77 games with the Buffalo Bills. So 3rd and 7 coming up.
And Jim Haslett really wasn't concerned about the cornerback situation. He was hoping that Fred Thomas would be able to play, but he's going to do some different things to give these guys some help. And yeah, you pointed out 77 games as a starter at corner. Yeah, why be worried? Just go out, play your game. Don't be afraid to take your chances. Don't get out of what you normally do.
They're going to spread it out, and 5 receivers line up for Favre on 3rd down and 7. And they keep the defense out. The pass flag is down, and they're going to say that's a catch and a fumble, and running it in, Terry Glenn had lost it as Keo Kramer. They did not give a signal of incomplete pass, so we have to assume that Glenn, according to the officials, had caught the ball, and I really wonder whether that was the case. I'm not so sure.
Illegal formation. Number 72.
We'll never know.
Lined up in the backfield. The touchdown is good.
Wow. Well, now, Keo Kramer running it in on Glenn's fumble. And the penalty declined.
Well, as you pointed out, Dick, now it's just a question of whether the ball was caught and fumbled. They called Earl Dotson for being in the backfield. Well, let's see right here on the replay. Catch, possession, feet down, turning upfield.
Yes.
Fakir Brown, a guy that was brought in this week with the injury situation to Fred Thomas, makes a huge play and knocks the ball loose. Keo Kramer takes it the rest of the way.
38-yard touchdown run. So the house is crumbling for the Packers after their late flurry at the end of the second quarter. And John Carney on for the point after is perfect. And the Saints lead 28-10. So the Packers have turned it over 3 times and have been scolded on 2 occasions. 28-10. It might have been confusing. First saying a fumble, then an interception. It was a fumble return, 38 yards, as we saw clearly, as Terry Glenn had caught the ball, had a couple of steps with the ball in possession, and then lost it. And I'll tell you one thing, the Saints are getting a lot of mileage from backup defensive backs in this game.
I tell you what, you had an opportunity to get back with a football team that released you during training camp. Fakir Brown making the most of an opportunity, filling in for the injured Fred Thomas in the nickel group.
John Carney's kick returned by Javon Walker, and stopped at the 22-yard line. So the Saints blunt the Packer momentum early here in the third quarter, leading 28-10. All right. Always good to hear a little music. Go to commercial. No commercial. No one cares about that. Now we have some play going on as the Packers start from the 22-yard line. Trailing 28-10. They have a lot of catching up to do.
Maybe the officials think we're still in commercial.
And you know what? For those people who are dying to see these messages, you're going to get your opportunity now. Capacity crowd in full throat. First down for the Packers, trailing 28-10 from the 22, and the pass underneath to Ahman Green. And Green, very close to a Green Bay first down, is stopped by Darren Smith.
The crowd has got to maintain their excitement. You know, they just keep coming in and out of the football game to use it as an advantage, and maybe that's why the Saints have struggled at home. I mean, to be 6-10 in this building under Jim Haslett's era as head coach is really surprising to me. This was always a difficult place to play when I was in the league.
They have not had a winning year at home since 1992. That's ridiculous. Even poor clubs managed to go 5-3 on occasion. Pressure on Favre, and on the screen pass, no one's home. And the flag is down. Charles Grant, Willie Whitehead, Martin Chase, and the second time today, Brett Favre calls for intentional grounding.
Well, you can see Brett Favre trying to plead his case with referee John Greer. He's trying to say that the running back was held up or knocked off, and that's why he wasn't there. John Greer wasn't buying any of that.
Number 4, offense. It's also a loss of down. Second down.
His running back that was going to be involved in the screen was hit and knocked back by one of the pass rushers and wasn't allowed to get out. Brett saying that the ball was going to be near him if that hadn't happened, but they just weren't buying what he was selling. I want you to watch Charlie Clemens right here. He's going to be the guy that knocks him on Green back out of the play. Now, Brett dumps the ball off, but he hasn't been able to make it out. That was his case. They weren't listening to anything.
15-yard penalty back to the 15-yard line. Here's Green out of the backfield and out of bounds. At the 18, Cedric Hodge. The New Orleans Saints trying to win their home opener today in front 28-10 early here in the third.
I'll tell you why, Jim Haslett was upset right there walking back to talk to his coach. Cedric Hodge was late again getting out into coverage in the flat. If Ahman Green could have made that turn, they were in man coverage, and he had a lot of room down the sideline.
Third down and 18. Walker and Glenn line up to the top. And Brett Favre with another flag down, and Favre running out of bounds. Will be short of the first down, pending the penalty by about 6 or 7 yards. And another penalty is for a 13-yard pickup. May be nullified by the flag. Against the Packers again. And it will be
illegal hands to the face. Number 68, offense. It's declined. 4 steps.
Mike Wall His third penalty of the game, and so fourth down coming up. Josh Bidwell. It's going to be a trying afternoon for Mike Sherman.
Mike Wall's right here. You see, as he comes over to help, he just gets his hands up in the face. First contact right there. You saw Mike Sherman walking the sideline with the scowl. All the mistakes and all the bad positions this team has put them in have been self-inflicted this afternoon.
So here is Bidwell with a kick, a beauty. Michael Lewis inside his 10. And down he goes, shy the 20-yard line. Well, Mike Sherman said this key matchup, our offensive line against their defensive line. So far, no contest. At this point, the Saints are taking it to the Packers, 28-10. Rick Venturi with his defensive group. And Aaron Brooks with 2 touchdown passes, also with 2 interceptions, starting from the 19. Here's Deuce McAllister. Quickly in on the play is Nate Wayne. And right now, for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, a back-and-forth game in Atlanta. Take a look at Jim Miller hooking up with David Terrell for the 14-yard strike. David Terrell has only 2 catches this season, both for touchdowns. 14-10 Bears, but Atlanta's in the red zone. Back to Dick and Darryl.
Chicago's passing game looking very, very strong at the beginning of the season. One of the knocks in last season's nice playoff run.
Second down and 8. Here is McAllister. And Darren Sharper slicing through from the secondary. Bringing up a third down and long for the Saints.
Well, we can sit here and talk about what Green Bay needs to do to get back into this football game, and that's all a moot point. New Orleans needs to come out and assert themselves, and they had an opportunity to really put the game away last week against Tampa Bay. They've got another chance this week. I think it all rests on what they're going to do. Are they going to start to dictate the tempo to the pack, or are they going to allow them to hang around and be 1 or 2 plays away from getting back into this football game?
Third down and 6 from the gun. Here is Brooks on the slant. First down to Dante Stallworth, who has caught another touchdown pass today. Tyrone Williams on the coverage.
And that's the point that Mike Sherman made coming out in the second half is, yeah, we'd like to get more pressure on the quarterback, but we're finding ourselves in man-to-man situations, and right now the Saints are winning those battles. Joe Horn, a big factor in the first half. This half, it's Dante Stallworth. You see the trips down there in the bottom, and there's all the blitzers. They're going to come off that group, and that singles up on the backside to Dante Stallworth versus Tyrone Williams.
So a first down at the 31-yard line. Play action this time, freezing people, and actually McAllister does get the handoff. And no gain on the play. Antoine Edwards making the tackle. Shuffling in the defensive lineman. Ed Donatel, Billy Lyon now in there as we have second down and 10 coming up for the New Orleans Saints. Packers trailing 28-10. They have given up a bushel of points in the first 2 games of the season, and we're still in the third quarter. Backpedaling is Brooks, and on the screen, McAllister, and here's the deuce, and he is knocked out of bounds before getting to the first down, and a flag has been thrown. Hardy Nickerson on the play on McAllister. And we may have had an ineligible receiver downfield. That appears to be the signal from our referee today, Johnny Greer.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 64, offense. Still second down.
Well, when you get into a screen pass, and here's going to be Kendall Jacobs right there. He's going to be the player who gets called for going downfield. You can see him getting down. You've got to wait for the go call from the running back. And what happened is Deuce McAllister had to respect his blitz protection. He had to slow Hardy Nickerson down, and then Aaron Brooks had to buy some time to get back to him. You watch right here. He can't let Hardy run free. He's got to step in there. It's Nate Wayne, actually. He's got to step in there and do his protection first. So Kendall has got to realize that play is going to slow down and wait for his go call.
And on stride, the pass rifle to David Sloan in his first reception of the game. The former Detroit Lions tight end picking up 20.
And this is a player who, if he can stay healthy for the Saints this year, will do some good things being able to stretch the field vertically. he and Boo Williams together in two tight end packages with the ability to get down the field and create some vertical stretch is going to be a tough combination to defend.
And a first down with that 20-yard pass completion to Sloan on the 46-yard line of the Saints. They are controlling this game, and the fake handoff. And here is Brooks. And Brooks, again, smartly does not force it. He has thrown 2 interceptions today, so he doesn't have a perfect record in that one, but largely he has been impressive for the second week in a row.
He really has, and he is a streaky quarterback, and you know, every time we want to say that, hey, he made a good decision there, he'll come back and make a kind of a silly mistake a few plays later. So he's just got to get a lot more consistent in what he's doing, continue to make the good decisions, and not give the Green Bay Packers or their opponents an opportunity to get back into the football game.
Pick up 4 on that run. 2nd and 6 in midfield. McAllister off left tackle with a burst. Here's McAllister. Deuce McAllister. Touchdown. 50-yard run and a score for McAllister. And there's a flag down.
Holding, 88.
Bring it back.
Offense. Go second down.
David Sloan and Moose. I'm looking around the field. I still don't see a flag.
No, I didn't see one either. David Sloan, he's your tight end right here. Let's take a look at it and see what happens. He stretches outside. Well, yeah, he's got a little bit, but I tell you what, in the course of an NFL football game, you will probably see 10 or 11 worse holding calls than that. What happened with that, it was right at the point of attack. Everybody's attention was focused there. Maybe considered the block that springs Deuce McAllister for the touchdown.
And the old story is, if it weren't for the hold, maybe he doesn't get that opening. James Fenderson into the game, giving McAllister a breather, nullifying a 50-yard touchdown run, so it'll be 2nd and 16 back at the 40-yard line following that penalty, and hand off to Fenderson. And he gets into Packer territory, but a little damper here at the Superdome after that touchdown is nullified.
Yeah, but I tell you, they come right back in. They bring James Fenderson in to give Deuce McAllister a little breather. And there you're seeing the New Orleans Saints offensive line creating some big running lanes right now. They're starting to take over this football game, and this is an area of concern for the Packers. They did not get off blocks well last week.
And look how successful the Saints have been. 5 for 7 on the 3rd down conversions. McAllister checking back in there following Fenderson's 12-yard pickup. So it'll be 3rd down and 5, and the pass is to Dante Stallworth. First down. And right now, the Packers can't stop the Saints, and they can't get anything going against their pressure. That's a double whammy.
And when you've got a quarterback who has the patience to drop the ball down in his progression and allow the receiver to run for the first down, it's a tough battle. And you see right here, what he's doing well is he's getting the ball to the receivers on the move. He's allowing Dante Stallworth to run after the catch. They don't have to stop and make an acrobatic catch or go down to the turf and dig it out. He's allowing them to run after the catch by hitting them in stride.
And Ed Donatel with the headset off, trying to figure out a way of curtailing the Saints. They lead 28-10. They have a first down at the 39 of Green Bay. McAllister knocked back after a yard pickup. You had a good point. Forget about what the Packers have to do offensively. This has got to be their first mission right here.
Well, I've always felt that the mark of a really good football team is a team that when they have an opportunity to put the game away, their offense will come out and put together a huge drive where they just eat minutes off the clock and not allow the opposition's offense to get back on the field. And what we're seeing right now is a Saints offensive group that is about to take over with one of those drives right here.
So a 5.5-minute drive right now with 6 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 9. Plenty of time, and the pass thrown to the fullback, Terrell Smith, underneath. And he picks up 4 yards, bringing up 3rd down. So Kyle Diggs, Tyrone Williams combined.
And Aaron Brooks has had an awful lot of time to sit back in that pocket this afternoon and find his guys in the check down situations. Look at the offensive line. They're making a perfect pocket for him right there. He is feeling no pressure right now. The Packers have got to do something to jumpstart their pass rush, whether it's through the blitz or somebody just stepping up and making a play in that defensive front.
The 11th play of this drive coming up, 3rd down and 6. Here comes the pressure on Brooks. Pass is caught, however, by Joe Horn. What a day for Joe Horn. We've already chronicled a lot of it. That was a 14-yard pickup, and another first down for New Orleans.
You want to see a strong-arm quarterback? Watch this throw by Aaron Brooks. Opposite hash, on a timed outcut, in stride to Joe Horn. That's a heck of a throw by Aaron Brooks right there. Mike McKenzie, not much you could do when you execute a play that well.
So first down for the Saints. This drive started on the New Orleans 19. And it's been a balanced drive. Virtually equal number of rushes and passes. This is going to be a pass attempt by Brooks. Fires it. And it's knocked away. And the hit provided against Jerome Pathon by Mike McKenzie, who broke it up. And that brings up 2nd down.
Well, we've seen a patient, balanced drive, but I want you to watch the receiver right here. He's going to do a double move like he's coming across the middle, and then he's going to go vertical. Right there, he gets up the field. He almost splits the safeties. So the balance that they had shown during the course of this drive, Jerome Pathon's got to make that catch. He's got to make that catch. That's a big-time chance to make a big-time play. He's got to hold on to that football.
2nd down and 10 on the 21-yard line. Here's McAllister, and McAllister picking up 2. And that all works to the Saints' advantage because they are mixing their plays well, the run and the pass, using up a lot of time on this long drive.
And that's what happens when you have a drive like this. The guy that scares you the most spends his time on the sideline holding the towel in his hand, wondering when he's going to get his next shot.
So they're more than 7.5 minutes now in this drive. It'll be 3rd down and 9. They brought Michael Lewis, the kick returner, number 84, in as one of the wide receivers, and he goes in motion. The screen to the fullback fizzles, and that's thanks to Niall Diggs. And that'll bring a 4th down and a field goal try coming up.
I didn't like the timing of that play. The fake reverse to Michael Lewis just didn't materialize quick enough to give him an opportunity to get that screen pass thrown, and it ended up being thrown right in the middle of a bunch of Green Bay defenders.
So Carney attempting his first field goal of the game. This from 39 yards. 3:20 remaining here in this 3rd quarter. Toby Goen, the punter, is the holder for Carney. And Carney's kick is no good. Hooked it. So the Saints, good news is they use up a lot of time. The bad news is they don't answer their lead. Packers get it back, trailing by that much. Green Bay Packers trying to get back in this game. 1st and 10 on their own 29-yard line with 3:02 to go in the 3rd. And they hand off to Ahman Green. And Green gets good yardage, gets about 5 on 1st down. Brady Jackson making the tackle. So Favre trying to bring the Pack back here late in this 3rd.
Well, you're getting to the point where you might have to alter your game plan, and you're in a 3-possession situation right now, down 18 points. So it'll be interesting to see how long they can stay with what they wanted to do originally before they've got to get into kind of a hurry-up or a 2-minute mode.
First 2 drives were pretty good, and then fizzle on the last 7. 2nd down and 5. Screens it out to Green. Green will get the 1st down and sideline his way into Saint territory, picking up 18.
If you're going to the sideline to tackle Ahman Green, realize that he's not going to run out of bounds. Jim Haslett said he's one of the most violent sideline runners he's seen. And watch him here at the end of the run. He gets everybody beat. He's going inside. And Kenny Irvin needs to learn that I don't run out of bounds. I turn back into the field.
On the 40 48-yard line of New Orleans. Here is Favre stepping up, and he completes to the fullback, William Henderson, and a first down. So they go to the fullback. We're seeing too many fullbacks in the pass routes, I have to say, Moose. Only kidding.
Well, unfortunately, the Saints pass to the fullback didn't pan out so well on that last drive. But I tell you what, right now, one of the most complete guys playing the position in the NFL right now is William Henderson. He does a nice job of just moving up onto the linebacker, and he gives him enough separation to get out on the flat. And then he runs through a tackle. Charlie Clemens has got to wrap him up on the sideline, but he is a perfect fit for this West Coast style of offense for the Packers.
He got 11 yards on that play from the 36 now of the Saints. And Sammy Knight showing blitz. Flag is down, and the quick pass caught by Donald Driver close to first down yardage. And we're going to have a penalty against the Saints. We saw Knight and then Grady Jackson trying to get in there on Favre.
Offside, 91, defense. It's declined. Second down.
See, he's following Amon Green's theory right there. Cedric Hodge, you better get ready because fullbacks don't run out of bounds either.
And there's Amon Green trying to get the first down. He needed 1 yard. And it's very close. So they declined the penalty, did the Packers. And running it to Green. And it is a first down for the Packers with 1 minute remaining here in this third quarter.
What a nice drive by the Pack right here, showing a lot of poise, not panicking right now. We're winding down here in the third quarter, but plenty of time to play. Very, very impressed with what they're doing right now on this drive.
On the 26 of New Orleans, 1st and 10. They pick up the pressure on Favre, and his pass wide open, and the touchdown of Donald Driver. Even I know that somebody missed an assignment on that one. A 26-yard pass to Donald Driver. And the Packers come back quickly with a half a minute to go in the third.
What a nice design play by offensive coordinator Tom Rosley. He's got two guys crossing deep with a nice play-action fake that allows Brett to hold the ball. And as you pointed out, Dick, a mix-up in coverage right there because guys shouldn't be running this free, especially in the end zone.
The extra point by Ryan Longwell is good, and the Packers have now climbed to within 11. Brett Favre with his second touchdown pass of the game. Packers trail the Saints 28-17. Well, America has spoken, and now you get what you asked for. Jimmy Johnson joins the Fox NFL Sunday crew for the rest of the year, making America's #1 pregame show even better. And next week, the boys take their show on the road to open up Detroit's brand new Ford Field and break down the much-anticipated revenge matchup between Steve Spurrier's Redskins and Mariucci's 49ers. Fox NFL Sunday begins next week at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, followed by the Saints battle with the Bears and then the Redskins-49ers matchup. Ryan Longwell kicking it and picked up on the bounce by Michael Lewis. Flag down, and Lewis stopped at the 27. Holding is the call against the Saints. With 25 seconds left.
Holding, number 40 of the receiving team during the return.
That's Mel Mitchell. Take a look at that touchdown, Luke.
Yeah, well, what I think happens right here is the safety here, he's going to play it as man. He's going to chase Terry Glenn across the field. It looks like everybody else is playing zone, and Donald Driver just goes right into the zone area that was vacated as he chased Terry Glenn across the field. So I agree, Dick. I think that was a mix-up in coverage right there. Very savvy by your part.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's scoring drive. That was easy to see. Brett Favre with 2 touchdown passes. Remember, he tied Johnny Unitas with his 290th earlier to Terry Glenn in the second quarter. From the 12-yard line, letting the play clock run down, and Deuce McAllister And the Packers do a poor job of tackling off of that handoff. And McAllister picking up about 6.
Well, it's been a play that has been successful all afternoon, and the action looks like a toss, like it's going to be a play out wide, but it's designed to cut back inside. And, yeah, they have run that effectively all afternoon today.
So a good gain on the first down for McAllister, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score of the Saints 28 and the Packers 17. Fox NFL Sunday from New Orleans will continue after a word from your local Fox station. And we begin the fourth quarter here at the Louisiana Superdome. The Saints scoring in every quarter, leading the Packers 28-17, facing a second down and 3 on their 19. Dick Stockton along with Darrell Johnston and Ron Pitts here at the Superdome. And the quick pass incomplete to Joe Horn, and let's send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, Dick, the Saints may be ahead by the score, but there's no letdown by the Saints defense, a definite sense of urgency. Just a few minutes ago, Rick Venturi, the Saints defensive coordinator, got everybody together and he said, listen, don't look at the clock, don't look at the score. We got to take this one from them. They're not going to give it to us. Keep the pressure on. Just an idea of what's going on down here on the sideline.
Dick? Good, Ron. That's a good report, and that's a smart move by Venturi.
Oh, absolutely. I would be very angry at my defensive unit after that last drive. You've got Brett Favre on the opposite sideline. You don't want him with 15 minutes to pull this game out.
Third down and 3, and the pass unable to connect that time with Jerome Payton, and it's fourth down. So now the Green Bay Packers sensed something here, and they came in on Aaron Brooks.
Watch the block on Kabir Baja-Biamila. These guys are too athletic. You can't go down too low on a defensive lineman anymore in the NFL. If your job is to seal the end of the line, you better put your shoulder through his thigh pad and get him on the ground.
Toby going, kicking it away, and Darian Gordon fields the punt at the 36-yard line and is knocked back. So that was James Fenderson. Packers ball, looking to rally some more. So after a rapid possession by the Saints, the Packers beginning from their 35-yard line very early in this fourth quarter. First down, Favre with a fake, and a tough catch is made by Terry Glenn, and that may be another first down. I have to say this, even though the Saints have been leading throughout the game, I think Jim Haslett has got to always be wary of what Green Bay could do. Late second and right now.
Absolutely. There's got to be a lot of concern with the Saints because last weekend an opportunity to take the game from Tampa Bay. They let them hang around. They end up going to overtime. And right now you've got one of the best in the business out on the field right now that has comebacks in his history. And right now there has to be a sense of urgency for this Saints defense.
And Brett Favre has never lost a game in this dome. First and 10 at the 45-yard line of Green Bay. Packers trailing by 11. Hand off to Ahman Green. Flag is down. Another one comes sailing in. And Green is tackled at midfield, and they're going to call holding against the Packers. So there's a momentum blunter, if there ever was one. Or blunder, or whatever.
Holding, 62, offense. Still first down.
Well, it's really just been business as usual for the Packers this afternoon. They continually have shot themselves in the foot. Every time they've started to mount a drive or to get close in the game, they have a big miscue that was in their control that sets them back. It's so hard to win a game in the NFL, Dick. And to be out there and beating your... I mean, it's just so hard. You've got to play such smart football. You can't put yourself in tough situations.
You said it right. It's hard to win in the league. Every coach will tell you that. First down and 20, and the fake reverse, and here is Ahman Green, and Green getting about 6 yards on the play. They're still well short. They need about 15 or 14. Sammy Knight on the tackle, but remember you talked about patience on the Saints' part early on. Same thing goes for the Packers, I would think, right here.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we have seen no panic from the Green Bay Packers on the offensive side of the ball. They're continuing to run. They're continuing to stay with their game plan. They've got plenty of time with a 2-possession deficit right now.
Green has gained 81 yards on 17 carries. Second down, 14. And Brett Favre airing it out, and the pass is knocked away. Javon Walker was the receiver. Sammy Knight covering on the far side.
Right there, the Green Bay Packers trying to take a shot on a move-go route to Javon Walker. Sammy Knight does a great job coming all the way across from his free safety position to get in there to knock that ball out.
3rd down and 14. And Bubba Franks on the sideline. David Martin is in. The Packers have missed their last 6 3rd down conversions. And they need a bunch right here. And here comes the pressure. Darren Smith coming on in, and the pass is caught at midfield by Terry Glenn. He's not going to get the 1st down, however. So Darren Smith forcing Favre to get rid of it.
There's Darren Smith. He's coming all the way to the outside. Amon Green blocks up on Charlie Clemens. That's the design blitz to get 2 guys into an area. They are reading the running backs, and when the running backs lock up in protection, the other one that has him in man coverage will come on the green dog.
And they're going to go for it on 4th down and 2.
Well, here's your pivotal play of the football game.
4 wide receivers and bobbling the snap, and the Saints get it. Charlie Clemens and Mike Sherman's disgust is evident. And Brett Favre is incensed. Just a miscommunication. And Clemens recovers, and the Saints get it back in Packer territory. We'll be back. Saints on the turnover with a 1st down on the 48-yard line of the Packers. That's the 4th turnover for Green Bay today. And Aaron Brooks, with a lot of time, throws it into the bench.
Well, Brett Favre was very upset with the call, but I want you to watch Marco Rivera right there. See him rocking back and forth? He's got a legal procedure right there. So, you know, I don't know if Brett thought that the linebackers got into the neutral zone, but Marco Rivera could have been called. One of the things that Brett told us, he's got Frank Winters back as his center.
Intentional grounding. Number 2, offense. That's a loss of down. 2nd down.
He's got Frank Winters back as his center, and Mike Flanagan used to kind of float the ball back in shotgun. Frank Winters' snap comes back a lot quicker. I think he got surprised a little bit on the snap. And that's what happened, because even if Charlie Clemens was in the neutral zone, it's a free play. Brett is one of the best at taking advantage of a free play when the defense has jumped off sides.
So the intentional grounding against Aaron Brooks, 2nd down and 19, and trying to get some of the yards back. Dante Stallworth, the rookie wide receiver from Tennessee, getting back to midfield where Tyrone Williams makes the stop.
Well, on the previous play, you know, we've given the quarterbacks in the NFL the ability now to dump the ball in the pocket as long as it's in the vicinity of a player. But when they throw the ball high out of the end zone or high on the sideline, it's got to at least be an attempt to get it near the player. And what the Saints were doing, they were taking a home run shot, and Aaron Brooks showed great patience, and it wasn't there, so he just sailed it out of bounds. But he's got to be aware they're going to call that a little bit tighter this year.
3rd and 12 with Kabir Baja-Villamilla checking in, and here comes the blitz against Aaron Brooks, and he'll pay. Down he goes, and it's Baja-Villamilla, Niall Diggs all in on the play, and the 1st sack for Green Bay today.
And that's the big statement right there. The first time that they have gotten pressure, and effective right there. Aaron Brooks steps up in the pocket. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, they've tried it during the course of the afternoon, but they just haven't been able to get there right now.
Darian Gordon back to receive the punt from Toby Goen. So the Packers get another opportunity and really got out of harm's way in a big way when Favre had bobbled at the pass on 4th down and 2. Goen. He's going to go going to Darren Gordon, and out of bounds it goes, and The Packers will get it back. They now call Diggs with the full sack. Sorry, Bodger. The only thing I can say is, aw, shucks. 28-17. And the Packers on the 22-yard line, still trailing by 11. Boy, they have they're like a toreador today, getting away from the bull. Here's Armon Green out of the backfield and hit immediately by Cedric Hodge. And limping back to the huddle is Green, and he wants out. And they'll bring in Rondell Mealy.
And this is Armon Green coming out of last week's game, several IVs after the football game on a very, very unusually warm day at Lambeau Field. So he hasn't been 100% coming into the game, and now going off with what seems to be possibly an ankle injury.
Second down and 9 from the 23, so Green on the bench. And there's the screen pass to Rondell Mealy, and the Saints are covering side to side as well. Cedric Hodge with his second tackle, and it'll be third down and 9. And now Mealy goes out of the game, and they're going to bring in Najee Davenport, the rookie from Miami. So Mealy and Green go out in successive plays, and Davenport can be used as a fullback or a tailback. But this is a problem now.
Yeah, and that is why Tony Fisher was activated today. They knew coming in that they were going to be a little bit thin at the running back position. Boy, what a good move by Mike Sherman right now, because two of his guys are down.
Third and 11 from the Green Bay 22. And they don't get it off in time, and I think we'll have a delay of the game call. You saw this clock.
Delay. Offense. Third down.
So now it'll be third and 16.
Very similar to the play that we had on the fumble with Charlie Clements coming on the move right up the middle. And those are all the fans from Kill, Mississippi right there, not having the type of afternoon that they had hoped to have after making the trek in today on the buses.
No, it's not what they envisioned. The Packers have not converted their last 7 third down attempts, and they've got to go 16 yards on this one. They spread them out, and Favre with a flag down, trying to get it to Glenn, but it's knocked away. And Devo Craver on the play, so another penalty. And this one will go against the Saints.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 36, defense. First down.
A critical penalty. Michael Hawthorne, and a first down for Green Bay as we send it down to Ron Pitts.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dick, I don't know if the Packers staff has enough medical personnel to attend to all the injuries right now. Rondell Mealy, he just came out. He's up on his feet moving around. Looks as though he got the wind knocked out of him. But Armon Green, he twisted his knee. He stayed down on the carpet for a while before anybody could get to him. They're attending to him right now. We'll keep you posted on both of these guys.
Dick, thank you, Ron. And as Moose mentioned, that's why Tony Fisher, the rookie, was active today. Najee Davenport is their running back on first down and 10. And here is David Martin, the tight end, and he is sandwiched after a gain of about 5 by Michael Hawthorne and Darren Smith.
You pointed out that what a critical penalty right there on a 3rd and 15 situation, the illegal hands to the face by Michael Hawthorne. And now what we've seen the Packers are throwing the ball into the flat area on their passes. What the guys need to do right now is start getting as much yards as they can and then get out of bounds. Let's start saving some time on this clock. We're down to 8:25 right now in the 4th quarter, a 2-possession game. They need to conserve as much time as they can. So if you get near the sideline, get your yards and then get out of bounds.
Second and 5. William Henderson is the lone back, and stepping up is Favre, and Favre had a chance, but Norman Hand had an ankle, and the Favre is stopped, and that will bring up third down, and about 4 or 5 now with 8 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter.
Very impressed with the play of Norman Hand and Grady Jackson inside. You know, the 2 big tackles that I think a lot of people just consider run stoppers, but they have been effective in rushing the passer and falling back into lanes and clogging up the middle of the field as the quarterback tries to scramble.
Packers are 2 scores away, trailing by 10, 3rd down and 3, and Glenn, extra effort, 1st down at the 35-yard line. Craver on the tackle, so Terry Glenn, who caught a 14-yard touchdown pass just before intermission, which gave the Packers some momentum. They were trailing by 11 at that time, and it's gone back and forth, and right now the deficit is still 11 points. Glenn with 6 catches today. That's good for 7 yards. Rondell Neely, as Ron Pitts mentioned, had the wind knocked out of him. He's back in. And there's Favre, and the Favre completes to Javon Walker. Talk about another laser thrown by Brett Favre, the rookie Javon Walker, with a 26-yard pickup into Saints territory.
If you're a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, you always have to expect the ball could be thrown to you. There is not a whole lot of room to fit this ball in, and maybe not the wisest decision, but that's Brett Favre. He gives his wide receiver an opportunity to make the play, and this guy is going to be something special in the NFL. I really, really feel that. Javon Walker, Mike Sherman says he is wise beyond his years, knowing the scheme and running routes, and he is very, very gifted athletically.
Ken Irvin was playing the man and not the ball on that play. 1st down, and here's Favre, and off the fingertips of Robert Ferguson, bringing up 2nd down and 10 with 6:02 on the clock. Craver is slow getting up from the turf here. By the way, the reception by Walker was his 1st of the day, and Keon Craver, who was taken on the 4th round out of Nebraska, and a very promising defensive back, is injured. Brett Thomas out with the broken hand, the starting cornerback, and you know that Dale Carter has been on suspension. Saints have done a pretty good job today when you consider the likes of Craver, Fakir Brown, and Ken Irvin have done a good job filling in. We'll be back. That's Keon Craver, and they're working on his right knee. 2nd down and 10 on the 37-yard line. Packers trailing by 11. 6:02 to go, and the slant to Glenn. 1st down to the 25-yard line. So the Packers remain in business thanks to that 12-yard pass play.
Still a lot of poise by this Green Bay Packer offense, not getting hurried, staying with their plan. The interesting thing is if we get down here and they get a touchdown, I would assume going for the 2 points to make it a 3-point lead. So a lot of room here for the Green Bay Packers. Just take your time and make good play calls.
Impressive 2nd half for Brett Favre, and he goes to Glenn again, and Glenn close to another 1st down, maybe about a yard short. Ken Irvin making the play. So Favre has completed 9 of 11 passes for over 100 yards in the 4th quarter alone.
You can understand now why defensive coordinator Rick Venturi was talking to his guys. Don't pay attention to the clock. Don't look at the lead. You know, go out and play the way you would play if it was 0-0 on the opening drive of the game. They've allowed Green Bay to hang around, and they're on the verge of making this a 1-possession football game.
They need 2 yards for the 1st down. And Favre has been a master of bringing teams back, trying to get out of trouble, and he fires, and a smart play going over the head of the receiver that time. Bubba Franks. I don't think he had any idea he was going to complete a pass at that point, just wanted to get rid of it and not ground it in the process.
Exactly. Brett Favre has been called twice today for intentional grounding, so he knows the officials are watching him. There's not many guys that can buy time like that and have the arm strength, backpedaling off your back foot, and get that ball into a place on the field where it's not going to be grounding, but nobody can make an interception.
3rd down and 2, and now the crowd becomes alive again. As Moose said, they've been in and out all day. And the pass knocked down, and that was Charlie Clemens who made the play on the throw intended for Bubba Franks, bringing up 4th down and 2.
Bubba Franks, their go-to guy down on the goal line. Just a quick little play-action pass. He didn't even have his head turned around yet. I don't know if Bubba Franks was expecting the ball. Look at that. That ball is put in a pretty good area. Bubba's still running his route right now.
Unless it was coming from the sideline. He wasn't expecting that pass. So Ryan Longwell, who connected on a 27-yarder, this will be a 36-yard field goal attempt. Packers need 10 to tie, no matter how they get them. They're going for the 3 first, or 11 that is, and they make it. And it is now 28-20, so they need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the game. But they could not escape without getting some points on this possession.
Well, absolutely not. It was a 2-possession game at that point, so you have to take the field goal. Give yourself an opportunity to come back on the next drive and get a touchdown and 2 points to tie the game. And there we see Keo Craver going off the field on a cart. That is not a good sign for him. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for Keo.
October will be filled with spellbound days, mystical nights. Sports' biggest month comes to Fox. Baseball Division Series kicks off with up to 125 hours of October's magical matchups, thrilling NFL showdowns, and exciting baseball playoff action. No other network will broadcast more sports in a single month this year. The magical matchups begin October 1st, only on Fox. Lucy mentioned Keo Craver. Big touchdown in the third quarter for the Saints, returning a fumble 38 yards for the score. And the only score that the Saints have managed in the second half. Longwell kicking off with 4.5 minutes remaining in the fourth. Michael Lewis. This is where special teams has to come up big for the Packers. And Lewis gets it out to the 27-yard line.
Well, you remember the 3rd and 15. Let's watch down here, the bottom of the screen. Michael Hawthorne versus Javon Walker. There's the hands to the face right there. That allowed that drive to stay alive, which the Packers eventually turned into 3 points. The big miscue on that, they'd gotten him into a 3rd and 15, forced the incomplete, but they were given the first down by way of penalty.
So a crucial sequence right here for the Saints. Trying to use up time, leading by 8 points, 28-20. 3 tight ends for the New Orleans Saints as they start from the 27. The kicking tee is still there, as you see. Play clock down to 2, and the handoff to Deuce McAllister. And McAllister with a solid run, picking up 7 yards on first down. Someone ought to get that tee before someone gets hurt.
I think here he comes right there. I'll tell you, the best thing that Deuce McAllister did on that run is he got into the area of contact. Somebody put a hand on the ball, and he immediately secured the possession of the football. The one thing you cannot have here is the turnover, obviously. But let's take a look. Watch as he gets into the hitting area. He's going to get a hand on the ball. He's got it kind of loose right there. And there you see. Uh-oh, I better get 2 hands on it.
2nd down and 4. And here is McAllister. First down. Breaks into the open field. Deuce McAllister in a foot race. Mike McKenzie trying to get in front of him and does. But it's too late. Deuce McAllister with a brilliant 64-yard run from scrimmage. And the Saints have first and goal.
Everybody on the offense talked about his big play potential. Look at the patience as he moves through the hole. And now when he gets out in the open field, the one thing that everybody knew is his breakaway speed. Every time he is on the field and has an opportunity to touch the ball, he has the athletic ability and the skills to take it the distance.
Officially 62 yards for McAllister, who has paid dividends today with a touchdown to start the scoring. He gets the call again, and McAllister on first and goal from the 5 gets to about the 2. And 2.5 minutes showing on the clock here in the fourth quarter. It has been a truly uphill climb for the Packers all day. But if the Saints can get into the end zone, it will be a climb that they're not going to reach. McAllister with 121 yards, had his career game a week ago, and has surpassed it here. He had 108 yards last week. Second and goal, and here is McAllister, and he'll walk in for the touchdown to clinch the game.
Well, I just don't know what to do as a Green Bay Packer defense right there. The Saints are in a position to definitely kick a field goal, which becomes a two-possession game again with 2 minutes to go. Do you let the guy score immediately to save yourself some time on the clock because it is a two-possession game? It's just a very, very difficult position to be in. We'll go back and take another look at that long run, the patience that he has through the hole, and what they talked about last week, the downfield blocking of the wide receivers. To see them all hustling, Jerome Pace and Joe Horn, they were all downfield. That's what turns a 12-yard run into a 62-yard run.
And the extra point by John Carney is good, and the Saints leading by 15, and this was McAllister's show all the way. Two minutes remain in the fourth quarter, and the Saints are up by 15.
I tell you, there's a guy that's just worked all afternoon. You see the determination in the eyes. But not a whole lot of effort needed right there. I think the Pack was mailing that one in to save as much time as possible because they do need 2 scores to get a tie in this football game.
Shades of Mike Holmgren against the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. And there it is, McAllister with his second touchdown. And why use up more time? Here is Javon Walker returning the kickoff for the Packers. And that was James Allen.
I tell you, we have called his name quite a bit today on special teams, whether it's punt coverage or kickoff coverage. James Allen, the gentleman who made the interception last week to seal the game, and a big concern right there. Ahman Green still on the sideline with that twisted knee from the last series.
And an injured New Orleans player.
Inside of 2 minutes.
And so
That's a short timeout, New Orleans.
So the Saints will be charged a timeout.
Looked like Fred McAfee who was down.
Well, the Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader next week begins with America's #1 pregame show. Then the Saints try to get past the Bears, followed by the Redskins and the 49ers or other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Looking forward to that Redskins-49ers rematch from their game in Osaka.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect a little bit of bad blood to be there from the preseason, but some words exchanged after that preseason game.
You don't want to lose this guy.
No. He was the guy that forced Tom Tupa to pull the ball down last week in that overtime victory for the Saints. And yeah, he's got to be on the field. He's one of those guys that plays a role here, but not only plays the role, but just excels at it. And well, the Saints have had some critical injuries here down the stretch. Keo Craver, they're already thin in the secondary. Now Fred McAfee limping off the field. So Jim Haslett just hoping to get out of here with as many players as he can.
Well, the Packers have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. They need 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. And Brett Favre, no secret to what he'll do. And the pass bobbled by Neely and picked up by a lineman. And that will be a completed pass. Mike Wall will get credit for that reception.
Fred McAfee's your guy on the right there. He's coming down in coverage, and there he goes for the reach. Right here, he's reaching for that hamstring. So hopefully that's something that he can get taken care of with the training room and be ready to go next week.
Second down and 3, and Brett Favre again going underneath to Neely, who was tackled at the 25-yard line, and the Packers have got to use a timeout, I would think, and they do right here. Darren Smith was all over it. So the first timeout used by Green Bay.
Green Bay, #1. This is a 30-second timeout.
2 timeouts left, and the Packers need touchdowns. They need 2 of them. They're on the 25-yard line.
But again, I think Jim Haslett, he'll be disappointed with his team in the respect that they've allowed Green Bay to stay in this football game. They have continually made mistakes and continually given the Saints opportunities to have put this game away. I will give them tremendous amount of credit on that last drive. A great effort by Deuce McAllister to go down and get the touchdown. But before that, this game was in the balance with Green Bay narrowing it to 8 points when really New Orleans should have had a comfortable lead. And that is a common theme from the first 2 weeks they have let their opponent stay in the football game late into the fourth quarter.
1st and 10 at the 26. 2 timeouts remaining for the Packers. And they keep it on the ground to Neely. And not much there. And now the second timeout will be called by the Packers with 1:02 showing on the clock.
Timeout, Green Bay.
So the New Orleans Saints, thanks to 2 touchdown passes by Aaron Brooks, 2 running scores by Deuce McAllister, a defensive touchdown, and alert play all the way around. But Darryl has to go around to the very beginning as we tell you again. Jimmy Johnson joins the Fox NFL Sunday crew for the rest of the season. And their crew is going to be at Ford Field next week when the Packers play the Detroit Lions. But at the outset, you mentioned one word, and that's the word that Brett Favre told us: protection. Wasn't there.
Now, they had 21 hits on Brad Johnson last week. They've continually been in the backfield, harassing him and forcing him to throw the ball off balance. So I think a critical area, the Saints were able to rise to the occasion in that situation.
On 4th and 2, here's Terry Glenn, and he is upended. And the Saints will take over on downs with under a minute to go. So the New Orleans Saints with an inspired effort on both sides of the football. Charlie Clemens leading the way. And headed for their second victory in as many games.
Well, I have to admit, I was one of the people who really thought that New Orleans was going to be in a transitional year. With all the players that they lost in the offseason, with the turmoil that existed on the team late last year and the way they finished, I did not think that they would be able to get out to the type of start they have this year. And when you talk to the guys this week, they didn't even realize how good they thought they could be until they got into preseason, and then they saw how much the rookie class was going to be able to contribute.
So apparently this club is better off when they're the underdogs, as they were 2 years ago, and they won the NFC West title. And then last year, when people started feeling good about themselves and others about them, they fizzled, but they win this game. And for the Green Bay Packers, how about giving up 34 and then 35 points in the first 2 games of this season?
And coming into the season this year, I think one of the strengths of this Green Bay Packer team had to be their defense. The first 2 weeks, there has to be some concern with the Pack about the defensive play right now. As you pointed out, Dick, that is a lot of points in 2 football games. I don't think anybody expected them to be in the position they're in right now.
So the scene of Brett Favre's greatest triumph, the Super Bowl victory, winds up in his first defeat at the Superdome. Dick Stockton, Darryl Johnston, Ron Pitts, along from New Orleans. Right now, we'll take you to bonus coverage of the Bears and the Falcons game. So right now, let's join Pat Summerall and Brian Baldinger for the